Chapter 661. Howl. The night in the catacombs was as dark as ever. The wandering monsters began to howl at night. Fong Ping and the rest stopped teasing each other. They were all wearing catacombs armor and restrained their auras, keeping a low profile like stones. A distance of 1,200 miles wasn't too far for the few of them. 1 hour, 2 hours, they passed through the mountains and bypassed the big lake. Along the way, they also encountered some demon gathering spots. Fong Ping and the rest did not attack. They avoided those that they could. At their level, middle and low-ranked monsters were almost useless and of no threat to them. When he was weak, Fong Ping used to wonder why Grandmaster-level powerhouses did not kill the weak. Now that he had reached this level, Fong Ping had some understanding. At this level, unless it was absolutely necessary, everyone would only target powerhouses of the same level. If it was not necessary, who would kill the weak and cause more trouble for themselves. Moreover, if they killed the weak, they would also kill the weak. That would be utter chaos. After walking for more than 600 li, Yao Chengjun suddenly said in a low voice, "In front of us is a rank 7 monsters territory. Should we take a detour or kill it directly?" Fong Ping looked around. If they took a detour, the journey would be much longer. After a moment, he said in a low voice, "Kill it. Hurry. The 4 of us will work together and do our best to kill it in one move." Okay. They raised their vitality to the limit in an instant. Celestiality began to interweave around their bodies. Yao Chengjun's long spear appeared. Wang Jinyang's blood-red longbow appeared instantly too. Li Hansong looked at the two's weapons, then at his own boxing gloves. He shook his head slightly and said regretfully, "I actually don't have an offensive divine weapon." Fong Ping humphed. Be content. Among the 4 of them, he had the worst equipment. The other 3 had their own inherited divine weapons, and they were extremely powerful. Only Fong Ping had 3 divine weapons until now. A pair of rank 7 boots, a rank 7 Changdao, and a rank 8 Changdao. The 3 divine weapons added together were far inferior to their inherited divine weapons. They did not say anything more. They restrained their auras and quietly crept toward a mountain ridge more than 10 li ahead. More than a minute later, in the huge valley, a huge python with spotted patterns appeared in front of them. As soon as they arrived, the spotted python raised its head high, looking in the direction of Fong Ping and the others, even though they did not sense any energy fluctuations. Kill. Fong Ping let out a low growl with his mentality. On the rank 7 Changdao, the golden glow was extremely intense. Yao Chengjun's soul-splitting spear had already shot out and disappeared halfway. It turned into pure psyche energy and targeted the python's psyche energy. However, the 3 of them were thousands of meters away. This monster could sense their presence. Sensing that it was no match for them, it had long run away. Why would it still stay here and wait for them to arrive before fighting? Fong Ping kept the python into his space. Seeing that there was finally something in the space, he felt a little relieved. The space had been empty for a long time. It would be uncomfortable if it did not store something. Let's go. Speed up and reach the bounded domain before daybreak. They did not waste any time. In the blink of an eye, they killed the rank 7 python. They did not use flight step. Instead, they levitated and hurried toward the bounded domain. At the same time, in the neighboring forbidden catacombs, at the peak of Mount Royal Sea, Zhang Tao also rushed over. Looking at the densely packed figures in front of the passageway below, his voice was not loud, but it was incomparably dignified. "King Huai, it's just a small area. Is there a need for so many people?" There are too many idlers in the royal court. Do you think it's inappropriate for them to come and watch the show? The long-haired king, Huai, was no longer as irritable as he was in the Magic City catacombs. His young and handsome face carried a gentle smile. Stepping on the void, he slowly walked toward the peak of Mount Royal Sea, as if he was walking on a flight of stairs. When he reached the peak, a black crack flashed and disappeared, cutting through his long hair. His long hair burst into a brilliant golden glow. Some of it broke, disappearing along with the crack. King Huai did not care. He walked to the peak, less than 100 meters away from Zhang Tao. Overlooking the surroundings, he murmured softly, "What a great building! Even a true king could not easily surpass it. It is admirable and intoxicating. How did the two kings do it back then?" Zhang Tao said lightly, "This is not the work of the catacombs martial artists." King Huai chuckled. "Are you talking about the martial artists of the bounded domain? Is it not?" "Perhaps." Having said that, King Huai laughed again. "However, the past has become dust. Now, immersing in the glory of the past, it seems that the martial king is still not confident enough. That is not up to you to decide." King Huai was not angry. He chuckled again. "Martial king, the barrier between the two worlds is about to be completely opened. You know what I mean? Now, even if you destroy the outer realm, what can you do? Martial king, the land of rebirth, I do not care about the other true kings. You and the Netherworld king, the Hall of True Kings will always welcome you." Zhang Tao said playfully, "I can go, but the premise is that the Hall of True Kings kills you first. How about it?" King Huai laughed. "Why bother? At our realm, everyone below the true king is an ant, living for 1,000 years or even 10,000 years. That is not impossible. Time can no longer erase our imprints. Since that is the case, why must you be so overbearing?" Zhang Tao said coldly, "On Earth, there are many impasses. King Huai, once the war starts, more than 1 or 2 impasses will fall. We human martial artists do not retreat until we are dead. In your Hall of True Kings, there may not be anyone left alive." King Huai chuckled. "I know. If possible, we also want to quietly cultivate until the moment when our lives are extinguished. But some things must be done. Immortality is also a great temptation, isn't it? Immortality." Zhang Tao sneered. "Even if life is eternal and the world is extinguished, what can you do if you are left alone? As strong as the ancient martial era, it was extinguished just like that. Yes, so we do not want to repeat the same mistakes." King Huai said faintly, "Perhaps only the seed of rebirth can prevent history from repeating itself." "What is the seed of rebirth?" Zhang Tao asked again. King Huai smiled faintly. "Let us enter the land of rebirth, and we will tell you." Wishful thinking. Then there is no way to negotiate. King Huai sighed and said softly, "You are too stubborn. Even if we enter the land of rebirth, what can we do? Even if we have the intention to kill you, if you really want to leave, who can do anything to you? Martial king, I have known you for decades, and I really can't bear to see you fall." "Then try." Zhang Tao's face was indifferent, and he said no more. King Huai said no more, but looked at the crowd below, chuckling. "Go in, boys, go and kill, go and indulge. Only when you are stained with the blood of the reborn martial artists will you truly walk your own path. Go, kill." The crowd below, one after another, shouted. Among the crowd, Ji Yao rode a golden phoenix, her expression cold as she said loudly, "Martial king, where is Fong Ping?" Zhang Tao said calmly, "Has the monster life royal court made up its mind to start a war with us humans?" Ji Yao only represents herself. Ji Yao did not answer directly, saying loudly, "Martial king, Since you want to destroy the 18 southern regions, the royal court, and its affiliated cities here cannot be ignored. If I promise not to invade the monster life royal court cities, then what? Ji Yao did not answer. Zhang Tao laughed loudly and said, "If that is the case, I will not force you." After saying that, Zhang Tao turned, looked into the distance, and laughed loudly. "The feast has begun. Kill! Kill!" In the distance, tens of thousands of martial artists shouted loudly. Waves of rank 9 force rose, the vitality pillar piercing the sky and the earth, making the vitality pillar even more obvious in the dark night. Even if it was thousands of miles away, the giant pillar in the distance could still be seen. Zhang Tao laughed loudly. His figure flashed, disappearing in the blink of an eye. In the next moment, he appeared directly above the Grand Canyon, standing in the air. Black cracks cut across his body, but only a golden mark was left. One man can hold the pass against 10,000. He wanted to personally guard the canyon passage. Even the catacombs' true king could not think of going through. Waves of force also rose from the neighboring territories. One after another, huge figures appeared from Imperial Sea Mountain. Outside Imperial Sea Mountain, waves of force also rose. A powerhouse laughed loudly, his voice traveling thousands of miles. Below, Ji Yao and the others looked solemn, but when they saw their true king also showing his majesty, everyone's expression softened. Soon the passage opened. On the opposite side of the passage, an old Taoist looked at everyone, watching them enter. Just as a rank 8 powerhouse stepped into the passage, the old Taoist struck with his palm. Boom! A loud explosion rang out. This rank 8 powerhouse did not have time to react, nor did he have the heart to defend himself, and his golden body exploded instantly. As he struck with his palm, the old Taoist flew backward, flying thousands of meters in the blink of an eye, fleeing toward Wuhan City in the south. Damn it! Kill him! The powerhouses, who had just entered the restricted area, were furious. Several rank 9 powerhouses rose into the air, quickly chasing after the old Taoist. They did not expect that the resurrected powerhouse guarding the passage would actually attack them. At that moment, many people did not have the heart to defend themselves at all. At the peak of Imperial Sea Mountain, King Huai said indifferently, "King Wu, you're still as shameless as ever." Above the passage, Zhang Tao sneered, "Just a bunch of idiots. Since we've entered the Outland, the war has already begun. I wonder how many of these idiots can return this time." King Huai was not angry. Facing the Outland, his voice traveled thousands of miles, saying, "Kill the escaped, resurrected martial artists. The massacre has begun." As soon as he finished speaking, in the forbidden catacombs, silhouettes from various cities soared into the air. The old Taoist who escaped from Imperial Sea Mountain soon encountered a rank 9 powerhouse, and a great battle broke out instantly. Further away, the sky-piercing blood pillar began to move toward the depths. King Huai stood proudly at the peak, looking at the Outland, chuckling. "Even if a territory is destroyed, I'll be satisfied if I can slaughter dozens of high ranks. 108 Outlands are just abandoned lands. How many high ranks can die in the land of rebirth? Was it worth it to exchange dozens of high ranks for the destruction of one territory? The true king in the true king temple said it was worth it. The land of rebirth had just been revived, and the powerhouses were limited. Exchanging the Outland for the destruction of all the high ranks of the land of rebirth powerhouses was worth it. The restricted area was still there, and the core was still there. Coincidentally, he could also take back some of the mineral veins in the Outland. Zhang Tao did not pay any attention to him and remained silent. Xishan Catacombs, Fang Ping, and the rest were extremely fast, passing by in a flash. At this moment, Fang Ping's figure paused. looking in the direction of Imperial Sea Mountain, muttering, "The war has begun?" Wang Jinyang and the rest's expressions were extremely solemn. In the direction of Imperial Sea Mountain, several towering pressures rose, covering hundreds of miles. Even though they were thousands of miles away, they could still vaguely feel some pressure. In Shishan catacombs, Imperial Sea Mountain, powerhouses began to demonstrate. Guardian Chen, it should be him. The opposite side is King Maple, more or less. They looked at each other. Fang Ping took a deep breath and growled, "Let's go, now." The rank 9 powerhouses in Shishan catacombs dared not release their mentality pressure to provoke him. While everyone was focused on the impasse, it was the most convenient time to go to the outland. Very soon, an endless mountain range appeared in front of everyone. They had arrived at Endless Mountain. In the depths of the catacombs, the heaven-shaking pressure was getting stronger and stronger. It was so strong that everyone suspected whether a battle of the pinnacle would erupt in the next moment. Fang Ping's expression changed slightly. After a long time, he looked toward the south and said softly, "Thank you, Guardian Chun." After saying that, Fang Ping sped up and began to cross Endless Mountain. Wang Jinyang and the rest understood instantly. Old Ancestor Chen, who was guarding Shishan catacombs, might have also known that they were going to enter the outland, taking advantage of the moment to unleash his pressure to shock the catacombs. He might also be trying to divert attention. Although they did not know or see this pinnacle powerhouse who started the neo-martial arts era, at this moment, they still respected him a little more. Endless Mountain spanned 400 miles. There were not as many demons here as in other forbidden lands. Monster plants were the majority. Although there were not many demons, the demons in Endless Mountain were stronger. Monster plant-type demons could form a forbidden land. Middle and low-ranked monster plants had no intelligence, and it was difficult for them to move. The proportion of high ranks was even higher. While Fang Ping and the rest maintained high speed, they were also extremely careful. Here, once they were discovered by monster plants, it was very likely to attract the attention of some kings of forbidden lands. Once they were surrounded by the kings of forbidden lands, Fang Ping and the rest of the rank 7s could not possibly be a match at all. With caution and vigilance, they passed through the mountains. The absolute pressure in the depths never stopped. The vast Endless Mountain was also much quieter at this moment. Even so, when they crossed more than 200 miles of Endless Mountain, Fang Ping and the rest were still targeted by monster plants. This time, Fang Ping did not have the intention to kill the other party. If they wasted time here, it would be too easy for them to be surrounded by demons. Ignoring the rank 7 monster plants' pursuit, they were extremely fast, crossing the mountains continuously. The number of high-ranked monster plants chasing after them was also increasing. 1 plant, 2 plants. When they were almost out of Endless Mountain, there were already 7 or 8 monster plants chasing behind them. In the central area of Endless Mountain, there were even rank 9 monster plants that began to cross the air and come over. Fang Ping and the rest could already see the Forbidden Sea tributary in front of them. Fang Ping took a deep breath and said quickly, "Be careful, especially Old Yao. It's your first time here. Remember what I told you before. You must be very careful. Don't fly too high." Beside him, Wang Jinyang glanced at the monster plant that was chasing after them and said, "Should we take off?" Fang Ping glanced at him. At this time, Old Wang was still thinking about what happened last time. "No need. Everyone keep a distance from each other. I'll be in the middle. If there's any danger, I'll activate Old Zhang's mentality clone in time. Let's go." As soon as he finished speaking, Li Hansong was the first to start crossing the river. The divine armor appeared on his body. His expression could not be seen, but his nervousness could be seen. The ignorant were fearless. The last time he crossed the river with Qin Fengqing, he did not have any other thoughts and went straight over. Only later did he know how dangerous the Forbidden Sea tributary was. However, as the only martial artist in the team with divine armor, his defense was much stronger than Fang Ping's. He was the only one who could explore the way. Behind them, the monster plants were almost catching up. At this moment, it was not the time for everyone to explore slowly. Li Hansong was the first, and Fang Ping followed closely behind. Behind him, Wang Jinyang and Yao Chungjun were also extremely vigilant. When the two of them had used flight step to the surface of the river, they quickly followed. The Forbidden Sea was as calm as ever. Very soon, Li Hansong crossed the river at a distance of 1,000 to 2,000 meters. Fang Ping was just about to reach the shore when a tentacle suddenly swept over from under the water. Fang Ping's expression changed. A rock appeared in his hand out of thin air, and he shot it far away. Unexpectedly, the tentacle ignored the rock and continued sweeping toward Fang Ping. Fang Ping gritted his teeth. A small ball of golden substance appeared in his hand, and in the blink of an eye, he threw it toward the surface of the water 100 meters away. This time, the tentacle ignored Fang Ping. These demons did not move much. Here, unless the boundary wall was activated and the energy was overflowing, only then could they cultivate. At other times, these demons were usually lying in wait. If they did not reveal their vitality, Fang Ping and the rest were like stones. They were not very tempting to the demons. Walking along the edge of the Forbidden Sea tributary, they walked for more than 100 li. Fang Ping's gaze flickered, and he said, "I think I see it." Wang Jinyang and the rest looked over. Sure enough, there was a huge black stone tablet standing in front. Chapter 662. In front of the gigantic stone monument, Fang Ping stared at the monument, his gaze solemn. He enunciated each word slowly. "Xuanda Grotto Heaven. You can read?" Li Hansong asked suddenly. Fang Ping's expression darkened, glaring at him fiercely. "What's up with you? Qin Fengqing isn't here, so you replaced him?" Li Hansong was embarrassed, but he said helplessly, "It's only 3 words. Why did you read 4 words? There were only 3 words on the gigantic monument. Fang Ping said calmly, "Xuanda Grotto Heaven." I added heaven to make it sound better. Beside him, Wang Jinyang glanced at him and said helplessly, "It's Xuanda Realm, not Xuanda Grotto Heaven. Can you read more next time?" Fang Ping's expression darkened even more. After a while, he said sullenly, "I didn't look closely. Wasn't it Mausoleum Cave last time? I only saw the first 2 and didn't look at the rest." Wang Jinyang ignored him. After he deduced that the bounded boundaries and sects might be related, he had studied seal script. Glancing at the monument, Wang Jinyang said, "It is indeed the Xuanda Grotto Heaven." The so-called Grotto Heaven is just a term used by the Tang dynasty. It might not have existed before. It was just a name given by the later generations. Xuanda Realm should be the Xuanda Grotto Heaven listed by the Tang dynasty. As he spoke, Wang Jinyang did not look at the monument anymore. Instead, he looked behind the monument at the winding ancient path that seemed to reach the heavens. Behind the monument was a huge mountain. The mountain path was rugged, and the ground was paved with sparkling energy crystals. The crystal-like planked path went up for thousands of meters. To martial artists, a height of thousands of meters was nothing. However, the ancient path was circling, faintly discernible. He had no idea where the end was. "We came to the right place," Wang Jinyang said, frowning slightly. "There should be restrictions above here. Last time in Tiannan, there were spatial rifts above. But now, this plank path goes straight to the heavens." Fang Ping lifted his head to take a look as well. After some thought, he said, "Since this is the mountain path leading to the grotto heaven, there shouldn't be any restrictions on the mountain path. Otherwise, this mountain path would have disappeared long ago, swallowed by the space rift." Li Hansong continued, "The gates in Tianan are very low. This one is so high. Fang Ping, is this your home? You want to make a cultivation ground into a crystal pagoda." Fang Ping said sternly, "From now on, shut your mouth. Tai Tu, I find that you've changed. You've learned to talk nonsense." This guy actually stabbed him twice in such a short period of time. He was rebelling. The other two ignored the two of them. Yao Chengjun looked around. After a while, he said sternly, "Everyone, be quiet. Someone has been here." As he spoke, Yao Chengjun walked behind the stone tablet, squatted down, and examined the crystal-like plank path. This place had been sealed for countless years. The crystal walkway was somewhat dim, and a layer of fine dust had fallen upon it. Yao Chengjun reached out and touched it, then looked up and said slowly, "There might be people up there. Someone went up here, and there are footprints." As he spoke, he looked at both sides of the plankway and took a deep breath. "This ancient path is a little dangerous. Be careful." I looked up and down, but the footprints didn't match. Perhaps someone had died. If it's not the ancient path that's dangerous, then there's danger up there. Although martial artists could use the flight step, this place was extremely dangerous. There were cracks flashing in the air at every turn. It was safer to walk with one's feet firmly on the ground here. Although some footprints on the plankway were very shallow, Yao Chengjun could still see them clearly. Fang Ping said, "Old Zhang said that someone from the Chen family might be here. Is it someone from the Chen family? I'm not sure. We can't let our guard down. We can't rule out the possibility that it's a martial artist from the catacombs." Fang Ping nodded. He would not let his guard down. He looked up again and said softly, "I didn't expect the door here to open in the sky. That's more dangerous than I expected. I don't know if there's someone above the sealed world. I was thinking that we could keep attacking the sealed world underground, but now it's hard to say. Since there's someone up there, no matter if it's someone from the Qin family or someone else, everyone must stay alert." Having said that, Fang Ping added, "Everyone, we came here together, so the only one we can trust is ourselves. Old Ancestor Chen probably released his aura on Mount Royal Sea to cover our tracks, but the Chen family might not know of our existence. If it's someone from the Chen family up there, be careful of them attacking us. If it's a catacombs martial artist, there might be a rank 9 existence." Fang Ping said with a serious expression, "If there's a rank 9 existence, then we'll be in trouble. There seems to be only one path here. If we don't go this way, we might not be able to find another entrance." Understood. The few of them were extremely solemn. It was different from the last time when they just wandered around. The last time they went to the bounded zone was to look for Zhang Qingnan. Fang Ping and the others had no other purpose. However, this time they were here specifically to look for cultivation methods. They did not want to return empty-handed. "Let's go," Fang Ping said, and looked at the stone tablet again. He glanced at it and did not look at it anymore. There was still business at this time. This stone tablet should also be connected to the sealed world. Dealing with the stone tablet at this time might cause big trouble. The few of them stepped on the plankway cautiously. Li Hansong was still in front. He did not dare to be careless. Li Hansong cautiously walked up the steps one by one. He tested it by stepping on the ground and even tried to float slightly in the air. Fang Ping and the others looked nervous. Fortunately, floating in the air was not a big problem. Fang Ping thought for a while, then threw a stone into the air. As soon as the stone rose into the air, it disappeared in the blink of an eye. A crack flashed in the air. Fong Ping said seriously, 30 meters. After saying that, he looked at Li Hansong and said, go up a little, about 20 meters. Try throwing a stone. Li Hansong nodded. Very quickly, he walked up about 20 meters along the plankway and threw a stone. This time, the stone did not disappear 10 meters in the air. It was still about 30 meters in the air. Fong Ping breathed a sigh of relief and said with emotion, ingenious workmanship. The sealed world is not flat, but arranged along the plankway all the way up diagonally. Everyone nodded slightly. At this time, Li Hansong threw a few stones on both sides of the plankway. Very quickly, his expression turned serious and said, Fong Ping, be careful. Out of the plankway, there are void cracks on both sides. When he threw the stone, it disappeared into the cracks as soon as it left the plankway. In other words, on this winding ancient path, only the steps and 30 meters above the ground were safe areas. Everywhere else was dangerous. Ancient martial artists are so domineering. Fong Ping sighed. They were indeed domineering. There was only one path in Xuanda Grotto Heaven. Visitors had to walk this path. Moreover, they could not use flight step or run around. If the owner of this place wanted you to walk the right path, you had to walk the right path. Using flight step or running around was courting death. It was unlike modern times, where martial artists did not have much sense of territory. Even in the Department of Education, if someone used flight step and disappeared above old Zhang's head in a flash, old Zhang would not care too much if it was one of his own. Of course, there was still a ban on flying. However, for high-ranked martial artists, there were actually not many who obeyed the ban. Sometimes, flying was indeed more convenient. As they talked, they walked up. After a while, Fong Ping suddenly said, Ironhead, I want to do an experiment. Listen and see if it's feasible. You want to borrow my armor? Li Hansong grinned. He did not say much. The armor on his body disappeared instantly and appeared in his hand. He threw it to Fong Ping and said, You want to test if the space cracks can cut through my armor, right? That's right. Fong Ping's eyes flickered. If it can withstand it. Ironhead, lend me this thing. At the crucial moment, I'll drag a rank, 9, and use flight step together. The cracks are purely physical damage. In the land of boundaries, only one voice is needed. That is my voice. This is also the consensus of many catacombs trips. Without my permission, don't think that you're doing a good deed by acting on your own. Most of the time, good intentions turn into bad things. The three of you, I'll say the ugly words first. If you act on your own and don't die this time, we'll part ways in the future. The smiles on their faces disappeared. Very quickly, they nodded. They understood Fong Ping's meaning. In the catacombs, they could not act on their own when acting together. It would often implicate the entire team. Let's go. Go up. Ironhead will scout the way. The few of them stopped talking. Their movements were weak, and they began walking up the ancient path. Just as Fong Ping and the rest were walking up the ancient path. At the end of the ancient path, on a huge platform, at this moment, a few figures were sitting cross-legged on the ground. In front of the figures was an impossibly tall gatehouse. The gatehouse was faintly discernible, surrounded by glittering and translucent giant screens and crystal walls. When Li Hansong's armor was cut, a creaking sound was heard among the few figures. The ears of one of them twitched slightly. Very quickly, he opened his eyes and said, I think someone is coming up. Maple King's men? Among the crowd, someone spoke. His voice was old, and his face was also very old. However, very quickly, he looked toward the person who spoke first and asked again, Second progenitor, did they arrive early this time? The person who spoke first was old and clumsy. His hair and beard were all white. He stood up slowly, his gaze deep as he said, Maybe. Everyone, get ready for battle. As soon as he finished speaking, on the platform, 5 people stood up. Including the old man, there were a total of 6 people. These 6 people were all clumsy, their faces pale. They had stayed here for many years. This place could not recover energy and recover consumption. They could only let 1 or 2 of them cross the Forbidden Sea every few days to recover. However, the Forbidden Sea was also extremely dangerous. Time and time again, there were people who died on the Forbidden Sea. However, they could not leave. Although the world wall would sometimes become saturated with energy and erupt with energy tides, it was possible that when the energy tide erupted, it was often accompanied by a battle. After so many years, out of more than 10 people in the past, only the 6 of them were left. The 6 of them looked solemn. Divine weapons appeared in their hands, but the divine weapons seemed a little dim. Not only the divine weapons, but the golden bodies of 2 of the rank 8 powerhouses were also extremely dim. The old man who was the leader was the same. His whole body was filled with lethargy. The few of them guarded the intersection between the ancient path and the platform, not saying a word. Not long after, on the winding ancient path, an armored martial artist wearing a full set of armor appeared. A human? The few old men did not make a move. They did not speak. Instead, they were waiting. In the end, the armored warrior took the initiative to speak. Then he said loudly, "Is that a senior from the Chun family of Polaris City up there?" The old man who was the leader looked slightly suspicious. He did not dare to relax, asking in a low voice, "Who are you?" "Oh, I forgot." Before Li Hansong finished speaking, the few old men's expressions changed. They had already sensed the vitality force that belonged to a human, a rank 7 martial artist. However, it seemed like they had just sensed it. For a moment, the few of them were slightly suspicious. Of course, there were many restrictions on the winding plank road. They did not sense it before. Maybe it was blocked by the restrictions. Soon, behind the armored warrior, they saw 3 more figures. They were all rank 7 martial artists. Although 4 rank 7 martial artists were weaker than the 6 of them, they could not be underestimated. "Are you a senior from the Chun family?" At this moment, Li Hansong did not speak again. Fang Ping took the initiative to say, "We are Sino-Nation martial artists from martial arts universities. Under Minister Zhang's order, we came to the Xuanda Grotto Heaven to explore the ruins and look for ancient human martial arts cultivation methods." "Martial King's order?" "That's right." Fang Ping said, loudly, "The seniors have not told us yet. Are you a senior from the Chun family?" To avoid conflict and affecting the overall situation. The few old men looked at each other. The leading old man said, "We are from the Chun family." After saying that, he asked, "You said that you came under orders. Do you have proof?" Although they were all humans, humans might not be free of traitors. Proof? Fang Ping thought for a while. He did have proof. Zhang Tao's crystal book was the most suitable. However, before old Zhang came, why did he not say anything about giving him a token or something? Now that he had taken out the crystal book, if they were to fight later, would they not know his trump card? Who knew if these people were good or bad? The old men above were not weak. 2 rank 9s, 2 rank 8s, and 2 rank 7s. Although it felt a little fake, no matter how fake it was, a rank 9 was a rank 9. Fang Ping did not expect to meet 2 rank 9 powerhouses here. If they were from the Chun family, then the Chun family was scary enough. 1 paragon, 3 rank 9s, and there was even a rank 9 Chun family patriarch in the House of Guardians. However, why did these people not go out? The Chun family's patriarch started the neo-martial arts era. According to Warlord, the Chun family's patriarch had given up on exploring the boundaries and no longer walk that path. The Chun family could not be seen in the king's battleground either, unless the newcomers entered once every 3 years. Thinking was just thinking. Fong Ping did not ask for details. He could not get anything out of them now. If they wanted proof, he did not have it. Actually, Fong Ping had proof too. He had the MCMAU Vice-Chancellor's seal. That thing could prove his identity. However, Fong Ping was too famous. The restricted area was still searching for him. If it was not necessary, there was no need to publicize it too much. From what these few people said, they probably had not gone out for a long time. They probably did not know them. After thinking for a while, Fong Ping looked at Old Wang and the others. "Do you have seals or something?" They nodded slightly. Fong Ping opened his mouth and said to the few people above, "Something like the Martial Arts University's Vice-Chancellor's seal. Can it prove our identity? Among us, there's MCMAU's Dean, NMAU's Honorary Vice-Chancellor, FMS's Vice-Chancellor." Hearing these titles, the people on the top were stunned. However, very quickly, the old man above said, "Yes, even if there were traitors among humans, it was not to the point where the leaders of martial arts universities had become traitors. If that happened, martial arts universities would be completely destroyed. Even King Wu would not be so useless." However, listening to the voices of the few people below, the few old men felt that they were not very old. They were also very unfamiliar. A new grandmaster, after Fong Ping threw a few seals over, the leading old man looked at them and suddenly said, "How is Lord King Wu recently?" When Lord King Wu broke through to the peak, he shocked the heavens and the earth and made the gods weep. The corner of Fong Ping's mouth twitched. Did they have to do this? If I did not happen to hear some secrets, I would have been tricked by you guys. Fong Ping said helplessly, "He's amazing." He broke through as soon as he woke up. "Ha ha ha, he really is King Wu's man." The old man laughed. That was right. This was a big secret. Most people really did not know. Even those in the catacombs did not know how King Wu broke through. They probably thought that he broke through to the desperate realm during closed-door cultivation. The ones who really knew the inside story were only the few human powerhouses. The Chun family knew about this because the Chun family's elder ancestor knew about it. Those who knew about this were definitely the higher-ups among humans and trustworthy ones at that. There was no escaping. This was King Wu's shame. Those who knew about this secret were not their own people. They were all killed. Of course, in reality, they did not kill anyone because those who knew about it were their own people. After confirming Fong Ping and the others' identities, the few old men stopped glaring at them. The leading old man smiled and said, "Since you are King Wu's men, come on up." They did not block the way anymore. Fong Ping and the others also walked up cautiously. Li Hansong took the lead and soon reached the entrance of the plank road. He deliberately squeezed forward, squeezing the few old men behind him. The leading old man chuckled. He did not say much and took the initiative to step back. He sighed in his heart. Not bad. These people looked quite young, but they were very vigilant. They guarded the entrance of the plank road. If they attacked and knocked them out of the range of the plank road, they would definitely die. In the catacombs, just as Lu Fengru had taught Fong Ping, in this place, do not trust anyone easily, even your own people. Li Hansong occupied the entrance of the plank road. Only then did Fong Ping, and the others follow. Once they reached the entrance, Fong Ping's line of sight turned to the looming gatehouse. Seeing Fong Ping looking at the gatehouse, the old man smiled and said, "This is the main entrance of Xuanda Grotto Heaven. It is also the only entrance. If you want to enter heavenly mystic virtue, this is the only way. Everywhere else is a dead end. You are here on orders this time. Does King Wu have any instructions?" Beside them, an old woman said in a weak voice, "Can you tell us about the outside world?" Fang Ping asked curiously. Seniors, have you not been out for a long time? Yes, we haven't left this place for 15 years. The few of them were a little emotional. In these 15 years, they did not leave this place at all, other than some demons, people under the Maple King's command who would come from time to time, and those mountains and rivers that they were tired of seeing. There was almost nothing else here. Not leaving the domain for 15 years was not something that could be represented by a simple number. Fang Ping was a little confused. Staying here for 15 years? Xuanda Grotto Heaven had not opened. It was not suitable for closed-door cultivation here. Even if the energy tide erupted, they could just wait until it happened. Was there a need to guard here every day? Seeing Fang Ping's confusion, the leading old man sighed softly and said, 15 years ago, we were not guarding here day and night. That year, we had already entered the House of Guardians. However, 15 years ago, one of the powerhouses under the Maple King's command obtained a bounded zone token in the king's battleground. These few years, he often sent people here to enter Xuanda Grotto Heaven. We were ordered to guard the entrance and not allow the powerhouses under the Maple King's command to open the bounded zone. That's why we can't leave. If we leave and miss the people under the Maple King's command, we will be in trouble. Moreover, we can't easily change people. The bounded zone is extremely dangerous. Changing people once is a huge crisis. That's why we can only keep waiting here. Fang Ping said hurriedly. Someone under the Maple King's command obtained the bounded zone token from Xuanda Grotto Heaven. Should be, the old man said. If not, the Maple King won't keep sending people here. Some information, the restricted area knows more than us. If he is not confident, he won't keep sending people here to die. Father knew about this back then. That's why he sent us here to guard. Father? Fang Ping swallowed. Could it be the Chun family's elder ancestor's son? Back then, he had asked if there were any second-generation people from each family who had survived. Jiang Hao said there might be. Now, did he mean that he had met one? Some of the second-generation people in Star Town were more than 300 years old. He had met a living antique, as if he understood Fang Ping's meaning. The Chun family's second elder laughed and said, it's rare to meet people from outside the restricted area. Since the restricted area hasn't sent people here yet, if there's anything you need help with, you can let us know. Leave early before they come. If there's a chance, help us pass a message back to the House of Guardians that we are still alive. Father sent Little Nine to meet us. Unfortunately, Little Nine died in battle here not long after he arrived. I'm afraid Father is also worried about the situation here. Fang Ping understood what he meant. Obviously, Elder Ancestor Chun was at Mount Royal Sea. He might not be able to detect the situation here. As for Elder Ancestor Chun, he probably could not come to the outskirts to detect at close range. He had sent someone to check, but the person who was sent died in the end. Right now, he might not even know if there were still people alive here. As for the last time Li Zhen and Zhang Tao went to Tiannan to investigate, Fang Ping suspected that these two might have been investigating at Mount Royal Sea. However, Fang Ping still asked curiously, if the few of you let one of you cross the Forbidden Sea, Guardian Chun will be able to detect. The old man could not help but laugh. Even a paragon won't cover the outskirts with mentality all the time, and it will consume a lot of energy unless it's a critical moment. Father doesn't know when we'll go out, so naturally, he won't cover this place all the time. Moreover, it's a little difficult for Father to cover this place. Fang Ping did not say anything, but he was calculating in his heart. It seemed like Elder Ancestor Chun was not as powerful as Old Zhang. Old Zhang's mentality covered here, and there every day. He liked to cover his mentality when eavesdropping, and he did not care about the consumption. Could it be that eavesdropping could train mentality? It seemed like it. Previously at Magic City and Tianan, those true kings in the restricted area only needed a moment to cover. However, old Zhang seemed to be watching all the time. Warlord too. No, Warlord seemed to have retreated halfway. Old Zhang was really there all the time, monitoring the entire outskirts at all times. Magic City's catacombs were much bigger than the Shishan catacombs. Old Zhang is amazing. Fang Ping sighed in his heart. How old was old Zhang again? He had never asked before, but he seemed to have heard Fatty Jiang mention it before. 85 years old, he seemed to have achieved Paragon less than 20 years ago. Li Chen achieved Paragon at 70 years old. Whether old Zhang was earlier or later than him, Fang Ping was not too sure. However, these few had not left the bounded area for 15 years, yet they knew the secret of old Zhang's breakthrough. If that was the case, did it mean that he broke through before he was 70 years old? So old Zhang broke through earlier than Commander Li. Fang Ping was still thinking when the old man said, "The bounded area and Mount Royal Sea are not connected. We have to go through the endless mountains to get out and enter. It's extremely dangerous. Moreover, going in and out through the Forbidden Sea is also extremely dangerous. That's why communication has been cut off these few years." Fang Ping understood and said immediately, "Don't worry. When we get out, we'll definitely inform the House of Guardians." As he said that, Fang Ping looked at the gatehouse again and said, "Senior, this time we came under orders to open the bounded area. Since the few of you are here, it'll be much more convenient." Fang Ping had not finished speaking when the old man said in surprise, "You guys, did you get the token too?" Yes. Even when they were here, these few were still guarding here. Fang Ping did not hide it, or else they would see it when they went in later. Chapter 663. On the huge platform, Li Hansong and the two elders guarded the entrance of the walkway, while Fang Ping chatted with Chen Yaozu. Yes, Chen Yaozu. Fang Ping suspected that this Chen family's second grandmaster was related to Chen Yaoding. Two brothers? Could old Chen be a child the Chen family abandoned? Of course, the possibility was not high. The Xuanda Grotto Heaven has never been opened. A long time ago, we came to the Xuanda Grotto Heaven many times, but we could not open it. In addition to the danger and father's decision to start the new martial era and not blindly pursue further, the Chen family gave up guarding the boundary zone. Until more than 10 years ago, Maple King suddenly let his divine generals enter. Father felt that something was wrong and sent us here. That was when we found out that Maple King had obtained the token of the Xuanda Grotto Heaven. Chen Yaozu briefly explained these things to Fang Ping, and finally said, "The energy tide erupts here once every 3 months. When it erupts, it is also when the boundary barrier is the weakest and the easiest to open. Since you have the token, you should know that just the token is not enough. It must have the owner's aura. However, when the boundary barrier is weak with the token, there is hope to open the Xuanda Grotto Heaven through the door. Therefore, every time the energy tide erupts, Maple King's people will come most of the time. However, the token is in their hands. We don't know when they will come, so we can only wait." Fang Ping could not help but say, "Then kill them and snatch the token." Chen Yaozu smiled bitterly. Beside him, the old lady sighed too. "It's not that easy. After all these years of fighting, we have both suffered casualties. In addition, we can't return and can't frequently pass through the Forbidden Sea to recover. We are now an arrow at the end of its flight. When you go back this time, I hope to inform you so that someone can come and replace you as soon as possible. It's not that we are afraid of death, but we can't recover to our peak. The people in the Forbidden Zone come in peak condition every time. If this goes on, we will not be able to defend soon. Once they open the Xuanda Grotto Heaven, there may be a new desperation powerhouse born. Is the Maple King's subordinate very powerful? The Maple Monarch is an old, true monarch of the Fey Plant Royal Court. He became a true monarch earlier than my father. Chen Yaoding sighed. He has 8 divine general-level powerhouses under him, which are rank 9. Apart from these 8, there were also a few children, 2 of whom were rank 9. One of them was killed by us back then. However, the other person is extremely powerful. He is on par with me, and he has also walked his own path. Fong Ping asked suspiciously, Maple Mine City? You know him? Chen Yaozu was shocked. You know Fengjiu City? Fong Ping nodded. I know him. Of course I know him. Back in the King battlefield, he was so pitiful. If Zhang Tao wanted to hit him, he would hit him. The others didn't give him any face either. Even King Huai wasn't polite to him. Feng Jiuqing was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. When old Yao and the others went out, Feng Jiuqing wanted to attack them, but old Zhang coldly snorted and blew up his palm. Who knew if he was fine now? From Chen Yaozu's tone, it seemed that the other party was quite strong. Both of them seemed to be first-generation bloodlines at the pinnacle. It seemed that they were evenly matched. Thinking of this, Fong Ping coughed softly and said, Senior, how far has your rank 9 Dao progressed? Is it 100 meters? Chen Yaozu looked confused. What did he mean? Fong Ping explained. Isn't it difficult to divide rank 9? I heard from Minister Zhang last time that the pinnacle powerhouses have walked 1,000 meters on their path and reached the end. That is the pinnacle. Based on this division, have you walked 100 meters? It was really difficult to use specific quantifiers to divide rank 9. Fong Ping did not even know how to measure the strength of a rank 9 powerhouse. Chen Yaozu heard this and laughed. He said, Marshal King, this analogy is quite vivid and direct. Previously, we only made some rough divisions. Actually, in the division of realms, there are rarely any special big differences between the pinnacle and those below it. There are mainly 4 stages: weak rank 9, rank 9 who have comprehended the origin path, strong rank 9, and pinnacle. You should know the rest. As for strong rank 9, it means rank 9 martial artists who have already walked a part of the origin path. There is also a big gap between them. If we really divide it according to the 1,000 meters you mentioned, let's not talk about the weak rank 9. He has just barely stepped into rank 9. The gap between him and rank 8 is not too big. Rank 9 and strong rank 9 who have comprehended the origin path can be divided together. It's about 1 meter to 999 meters. However, don't think that the gap is huge. In reality, after comprehending the origin path, the gap is not as big as you think. On the other hand, 999 meters and 1,000 meters, that is a world of difference. Chen Yaoding sighed. This 1 meter difference is too big. If walking 999 meters on the origin path can allow you to fight 1 against 3 and defeat 3 rank 9 martial artists on the origin path, then at the pinnacle you can fight 1 against 5 and defeat 5 powerhouses who have walked 999 meters. Do you think you can defeat 15 martial artists who have just comprehended the origin path? Then you are gravely mistaken. When the gap is huge, then it is not a matter of numbers. Killing some powerhouses who have just walked the origin path at the origin path is just a matter of moments. At this time, it is no longer a matter of numbers. In fact, he could also determine it through the people coming from the restricted area. However, it was very difficult for human powerhouses to enter the bounded area. Now that King Feng had sent people to keep an eye on this side and send people to take over, they might die halfway. There were not many rank 9s among humans. Qin family patriarch dared not be unwilling to take the risk. Since his son could still drag it out, then he would continue to drag it out. Senior, then how long until the next energy tide erupts? Chun Yaozu calculated for a while and said, about 5 days. So long? Fang Ping looked helpless. 5 days. 5 days in the forbidden catacombs. Maybe the war would be over. I still want to go out and join the war. However, according to Chun Yaozu, if the energy tide did not erupt in the boundary wall, he could not enter at all. Fang Ping thought about it and decided to give it a try. Without asking any more questions, a token appeared in Fang Ping's hand. It was the Zhangxian token that Old Wang had obtained. Fang Ping held the token and approached the illusory gatehouse. When the token was near, the silent token exploded with a faint glow, and the illusory gatehouse seemed to have become clearer. At this time, Wang Jinyong stretched out his hand and touched the boundary wall, giving Fang Ping a questioning look. Fang Ping nodded. Old Wang did not hesitate either, punching out. Rumble! With a loud explosion, Old Wang flew out. He said, "Can't." On the other side, Li Hansong, who was guarding the plank road, said, "Let me try." Old Wang Jinyong, did not say much and went to guard the plank road entrance. They took turns to guard. Chun Yaozu did not say anything either. These brats were probably still worried that they would block the plank road entrance and catch them all in one fell swoop. They were quite vigilant. Li Hansong ran over. He also unleashed a vitality outburst and punched out. The result was the same. He flew out. This time, Li Hansong was also helpless. He mumbled, "No." Fang Ping and the rest knew what he meant. It was not his home. Yao Qingjun did not need his reminder. He also tried. The boundary wall still retaliated. "Can't." Fang Ping frowned. No one activated the token in his hand. Without a matching aura, it could only make the illusory gatehouse slightly clearer. It could not open the door. Did this not mean that he had to wait for the energy tide to arrive 5 days later? Old Wang and the other two actually could not enter. They were all attacked. It seemed like they were not familiar with the owner here. 5 days. The other party will send people here in 5 days. Fang Ping actually did not really want to meet the people from the restricted area. Feng Jiuqing also knew him. If he really met them, that guy would go crazy and kill him when he saw him. The Chun family had 2-rank 9 martial artists here. They were not weak. But now they were extremely weak. Fang Ping glanced at these people. He could actually give them imperishable substances to help them recover. However, it was their first time meeting. Who knew if these people were really good people or fake? If they got greedy at the sight of money and killed him and the rest, then they would be finished. As for the token, Fang Ping looked at the token in his hand. If this thing was really snatched away, he actually did not care too much. This stupid thing could not even open the door. It might not be of much use. How do I get in? Fang Ping stared at the gatehouse for a while. The token had some effect, but the effect was not obvious. It lacked the owner's aura. That group of resurrected martial artists is actually related to the bounded boundaries. They might have been the descendants of the major grotto heavens in their past lives. In Star Town, I have seen many resurrected martial artists. Except for a few whose ranks are higher than mine, I can imitate the others' aura. Not only them, I can also imitate the aura of many rank 7 martial artists in the Hall of Myriad Origins who have not been resurrected. The token did not respond last time. Maybe that little bit of life origin is too weak. It might not be impossible. Fang Ping glanced at Qin Yaozu and the rest again, calculating in his heart. He simulated it. If he could open it, these people would not want to follow him in, would they? If they really followed him in and saw the absolute hope, Fang Ping dared not guarantee that this kind-looking old man would really not be tempted. I can't let them recover now. If they really recover to their strongest, although I don't think old Wu is too strong, it won't be difficult to kill me in a second. I won't even have the strength to fight back. Unless I come out from inside. While Fang Ping was thinking, a crystal book suddenly appeared in front of him. As soon as the crystal book appeared, Chen Yaozu and the rest's expressions changed. Chen Yaozu was just about to speak when Fang Ping suddenly restrained his aura. He smiled and said, "This is the treasure that the minister gave me before I came. He said that it will help in opening the bounded zone. Senior, let me try to open it now." As he said that, Fang Ping added, "The few of us have been given the right to control this thing by the minister. Old Wang, you guys come together. Let's try opening it together." Chun Yaozu's face was blank. A martial king could do this? He really did not know. His old father was the absolute peak, but he had never heard that he could give others a treasure that could conceal their aura. He recognized this thing. Was it not just a mentality clone? How could it conceal its aura? However, he could still see Fang Ping's aura concealment. Even he did not notice anything strange. Fang Ping did not say much. He also did not let old Wang continue to guard the plank road entrance. When the few of them came, Fang Ping concealed their auras together. Then he hit a series of hand seals at the crystal book. Old Wang and the rest did not change their expressions, following suit. Chen Yaozu and the rest were stunned. What was he doing now? He had not left the realm territory for 15 years. Could it be that the martial arts in the outside world had changed again? Fang Ping did not care what they thought. Very quickly, he threw the token onto the crystal book. At this time, while Fang Ping was making hand seals, he was, in fact, constantly imitating the aura of the resurrected martial artists, imitating the rank 7 martial artists' life origin aura in the Hall of Myriad Origins. He thought of something. He imitated the aura, opened the door, and brought old Wang and the rest in. That way, they could all imitate the same aura. However, Chen Yaozu and the rest, Fang Ping, felt helpless. "You guys are too strong. I can't bring you guys along even if I wanted to. I can't change the aura of people who are stronger than me. Therefore, if the door really opened later, they would not be able to enter." Fang Ping changed his aura again and again, but the token did not respond. Among the resurrected martial artists he met in Stellar Sky City, other than the few that could not be imitated, he tried the rest, but it still did not work. Helpless, Fang Ping could only continue trying. That day in the Hall of Myriad Origins, Hall 318, other than rank 8 and 9, there were close to 100 early stage and middle stage rank 7 martial artists. And in these halls, there were about 50 or so life origin existences. At this moment, Fang Ping was imitating these life origin auras. While imitating, Fang Ping said, "Senior, if we really go in, see if we can see some restorative treasures like imperishable substances, so that you guys can recover your full combat strength. However, this token might not be able to pass through many areas, so it might not work. I don't know if we can get the cultivation method this time." Fang Ping rambled on. Li Hansong and the rest continued to remain silent. Was he going to lay the groundwork in advance, or was he going to appease them? "When we come out, if the people from the restricted area come, when the time comes, you guys will recover your full strength, and I will use the backup that the minister left behind to kill all the rank 9s under the Maple King's command in one go. When the time comes after we seize the token, you guys can return to the House of Guardians. There's no need to continue guarding here." Chen Yaozu laughed. "If you guys can really go in, forget about the restorative treasures. The cultivation method is the most important. Don't worry, we will guard this side well, so that you guys won't encounter the people from the restricted area the moment you come out." The old man's words sounded very touching. Fong Ping also felt that a person who guarded for 15 years without even recovering from his injuries was worthy of respect. But in the end, he did not do anything that would expose his possession of large amounts of imperishable substances. He would think about it after going in. If he could not go in, then he would give these people some imperishable substances before leaving and leave after that. As he spoke, the token floating in mid-air suddenly trembled. Fong Ping's expression changed. The others looked at the token one after another. At this moment, the token was actually glowing with an even brighter light, and the gatehouse was also becoming clearer. Not enough, but it's effective. This is the Tai Mountain Green Bull sect leader's aura. Fong Ping remembered the owner of this rank, 7 martial artists' origin aura, and his eyes moved slightly. Tai Mountain Green Bull sect. This was a sect from 1,000 years ago. It felt like it had nothing to do with the Schwanda Grotto, but the Schwanda Grotto, according to the legend, it was located in Tai Mountain. Sure enough, those sects from 1,000 years ago are related to the Bounded Boundaries. When Commander Li entered the Bounded Boundaries back then, it was said that his mother was a resurrected martial artist. That little bit of origin inheritance actually allowed him to enter, probably related to Commander Li's powerful strength. His aura is too weak, not enough. Thinking of this, Fong Ping suddenly looked at Old Wang and the others, growling, "Go all out!" Previously, they had restrained their auras. These fellows were really pretending, and Fong Ping was only imitating. But now, Fong Ping had also changed their auras in an instant. It was the same aura as the Green Bull sect leader. For people, all rank 7, and 2 of them were middle stage rank 7. With this kind of strength, even if the Green Bull sect leader was resurrected and recovered his original strength, there was no way he could compare. For people's auras changed instantly. Fong Ping's palm appeared blood red, and a gush of vitality force surged into the token. The other 3, one after another, followed suit and acted together. The token trembled even more violently, and the gatehouse, too, became clearer. Chen Yaozu was dumbfounded. This could work too? How did he do it? King Wu even knew how to open the bounded domain. This was too unbelievable. The few of them looked at the crystal book, one after another. How did King Wu do all this? While Chen Yaozu was in a daze, he could not help but say, King Wu is getting stronger and stronger. Could he really take that step? The old ancestor beside him also said in shock, could it really open the Schwanda Grotto heaven? If it could be opened with just a token, then many grotto heavens would have been opened by now. Opening the grotto heaven required more than this. Although King Feng's people came here with the token, they only wanted to wait for the tide to erupt when the boundary wall was the most unstable and use the token to open a gap. But now the energy tide had not erupted yet. Even if King Feng's people wanted to open the gap, they would have to pay a huge price. They might even need a rank 9 powerhouse to break the barrier by force. Chun Yaozu looked at the token, then at the gatehouse that was getting more and more realistic. His eyes were filled with excitement, and he murmured, if it can really be opened, then take away the things inside. Even if King Feng's people come again and really open the bounded domain, it will be no big deal. When that time came, he could go home. It had been 15 years. He had guarded this place for 15 years. Day and night, he was worried that King Feng's people would come, barge in, take away something useful to humans, or obtain the opportunity to enter the peak. If all these were gone, even if the bounded domain was rich in energy, it would be nothing. If King Feng really wanted it, so what if he gave it to him? They were excited, but Fong Ping was even more excited. At this moment, Fong Ping's face was flushed red. He roared, harder, go all out. This isn't the real master's aura. It's just borrowing the minister's power to forcefully change a little aura. It's not enough. Li Hansong was mentally exhausted. Even at this time, he still didn't forget to push the blame to the minister. When these people went back later and asked, he would be exposed. But after thinking about it, it was nothing. When he really went back, Fong Ping was probably not afraid of being exposed. Here, he was worried that the Chun family would get greedy at the sight of wealth. He was not afraid when he went out. Moreover, by then, he would probably have gotten all the things in the bounded domain. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The boundary wall began to tremble. The gatehouse seemed to be squeezing out. The sparkling and translucent boundary wall began to ripple like water. Fong Ping hurriedly kept the crystal book in his arms. If this thing did not attract the counterattack of the bounded domain, it would be troublesome. Now it was more or less enough to pretend. They began to move toward the gatehouse. The boundary wall trembled even more violently. Wisps of liquid-like energy began to atomize and permeate. It's really going to open. The members of the Chun family were overjoyed. Soon, however, Chen Yaozu's expression changed. Get ready. Now that the boundary wall is fluctuating in advance, it will soon trigger the energy tide. King Feng's people are coming. After saying that, Chen Yaozu looked at Fong Ping and the others and shouted, My friends, you must be careful. After entering, do not wander around. These tokens are not the core tokens. No, the real master of the Grotto Heaven doesn't need tokens at all. The token is only a pass for some outer disciples. So don't enter the depths and don't enter the secret place. Try going to the cultivation tower. Even if you can't get the mentality cultivation method, the other cultivation methods from the ancient martial era can also be a great reference for us. Remember, the most important thing is the cultivation method. At this time, Fong Ping had already seen a small gap opening in the boundary wall. Looking at the old man's earnest advice, Fong Ping felt helpless. It seemed like he was going to bleed. Moreover, once the boundary wall opened, the energy would leak. King Feng's people were coming. Fong Ping shouted in a low voice, Enter! Old Wang and the others were extremely fast. Like noodles, they squeezed into the gap forcefully. Their bodies were hit by the brutal energy, leaving bloody marks. Ironhead was the first to squeeze in. He pulled Old Yao and Old Wang, pulling them to their deaths. He pulled so hard that their bones creaked. He dragged the two of them in forcefully. Without the support of these three people, the gap in the boundary wall began to shrink. At this time, while squeezing into the gap, Fong Ping turned around and threw a big gold ball, saying loudly, This is the life-saving treasure that the minister gave us. Seniors, this is for you. Don't die. It's okay, even if we die, but you are the pillars of humanity. Chun Yaozu caught the gold ball and knew what it was. He panicked and said, No, my friend, seniors, we can die without regrets. You must live, you must live. My name is Fong Ping. If I die, please take care of my family. As he spoke, Fong Ping had already been dragged in by the three of them like a dead dog. You're still acting at this time. Aren't you tired? You still have to do a parting of life and death, a virtuous and righteous performance. Old Wang and the other two were about to collapse. Did they not see that the boundary wall was about to close completely? As soon as the four of them entered, the boundary wall closed completely. The gatehouse once again returned to its illusory state. Chen Yaozu was moved. He looked like he was struggling. He sighed and said, My friend Fong Ping, how can this be? The martial king gave them these life-saving immortal substances. This much, it shows how much the martial king values them. Now that these are gone, what should we do? The other Chun family elders also had complicated expressions. Someone said in a low voice, Second Patriarch, If the few of them are seriously injured inside and don't have the immortal substances to recover, it'll be troublesome. Chen Yaozu sighed. How can I not know? My friend is worried about our injuries. Sigh. As soon as he finished speaking, he looked at the old woman beside him with a face full of dissatisfaction. He scolded. Little Seven, who told you to talk nonsense earlier? You had to say that I'm seriously injured. Although the old woman was not young, she still looked respectful when she was scolded. She said apologetically, Second Patriarch, I was just complaining. I didn't expect that my friends would have the immortal substances. Sigh. Chen Yaozu sighed again. He shook his head and said, Fine, share some with them. Recover your strength as soon as possible. I hope my friends can return safely. If something really happens after we get out, we'll repay you for saving our lives. Chen Yaozu sighed again and again. His heart was filled with emotion. The martial artists of the neo-martial era were indeed different. His father started the neo-martial era. Today, the Chen family descendants benefited from it. It could be considered a drink and a peck. It's just that I took advantage of my friends. How can I be at ease? Chen Yaozu sighed again. Fine, it was good to recover their strength. When the Maple King's people came, they could catch them off guard and give them a fatal blow. There's nothing I can do to repay you. I can only kill a few more enemies. At this moment, the Chun family's second patriarch was filled with emotion for Fang Ping and the others. The younger generation had such a character. No wonder he entered rank 7 at such a young age, with such a breadth of mind. As long as they could come out alive this time, they would be more than just rank 7. Genius in a second. Remember this site's address. Mobile version. Chapter 664. Now, during the double monthly vote period, 5,000 votes would be enough to catch up. Old Eagle wanted to be in the top 10 of the annual billboard. Originally, when the Golden Keyboard of the Month came out, Old Eagle would be satisfied with just taking it. His brothers had also spent a lot of money on the Golden Keyboard. If he went to the monthly votes list, it would be too greedy. But his brothers had given Old Eagle hope. Yesterday, the gap between him and the 10th place was over 40,000 votes, so Old Eagle had not thought about it. But now, everyone could see that the gap was so small that it was practically tempting to commit a crime. At this point, Old Eagle definitely had to do something. He had to make a fortune. He had to be in the limelight. He had to show off for once. In short, everything could be summed up in one word. Do it. There were only 2 days left. He still hoped that everyone could cast some monthly votes, catch up, and take the top 10 of the year. The top 10 of the year were all platinum and godly. If Old Eagle managed to sneak in, perhaps he would become a godly next year. There was still hope. Brothers, please give me some support in the last 2 days of 2018. Thank you very much. Take the top 10 and have a great 2018. Chapter 665. It feels so good. A moan jolted everyone out of their reverie. The 3 of them looked at Li Hansong. Li Hansong looked embarrassed and said sheepishly, I couldn't help it. It felt so good. They ignored him. This guy was developing in the same direction as Qin Fengqing, Fang Ping, and the others felt good too. At this moment, it was as if they had fallen into seawater of energy. While Li Hansong was complaining about how good it felt, Fang Ping had already taken out a super big bottle. Gurgle, the energy in the Xuanda Grotto heaven had really liquefied. The energy tide had not erupted yet, but the energy in the grotto heaven was already saturated. With a slight fluctuation, it would turn into liquid and drip onto the ground. Fang Ping did not even have time to look around. Once he entered, he took out the big bottle and filled it with energy liquid. He had actually prepared for this. last time in Tiannan, he already knew that the energy here had liquefied. Before coming here this time, he had also made some preparations. Although energy liquid was not as good as life essence, the liquid that could be turned into was also extremely valuable. At least, it was worth more than energy stones. Fang Ping waved the big bottle, fishing around. After a while, the big bottle was filled with energy liquid. While waving the bottle, Fang Ping threw out an even bigger energy crystal box, shouting, "Ironhead, dig. Don't dig too deep. Be careful. Don't touch the seal underground. There must be a seal here." "Dig," Fang Ping scolded. "Nonsense." Qin Fengqin ate a mouthful of soil, and his meridians and flesh were directly reforged. That guy just conveniently took a handful. "We're here." "Yes." Their eyes were bright. At this moment, even Wang Jinyang was no exception. He began to squat down and dig. The underground soil seemed to be slightly crystallized. In reality, Fang Ping and the others were not stepping on soil, but the ground that was paved with energy crystals. A sparkling and translucent crystal path extended from the gatehouse to the interior. However, there was still soil on both sides of the path. They were digging the soil on both sides. As for the energy crystals on the path, no, these were energy stones. Wang Jinyang did not pay attention to it before. Now he suddenly exclaimed, was this originally paved with energy stones? Or did the accumulation of energy recharge these energy crystals and turn them into energy stones? They're all supreme grade. Li Hansong's face was also full of shock. This huge path was filled with top-grade energy stones. In other words, almost all of them were rank 9, which was a higher grade than the core mineral veins. After Li Hansong recovered from his shock, he hurriedly said, "Has this road been dug? I don't know how long the road is. Just the ground alone. A meter long is equivalent to a cubic meter of top-grade energy stones." It was a 1-meter long road. Even if they could not see the bottom, just the road surface alone was probably about a ton of energy stones. They were all of the highest quality. 1 gram for 600,000. 1 ton was worth 600 billion. Just by digging this road, even if it wasn't the entire road, everyone would be rich. This was even greater than digging up King City. It would have been better if they hadn't settled the score, but once they did, their eyes glowed green. Didn't this mean that they could learn from Fang Ping and set up their own private energy mine? Fang Ping's eyes glowed. Then he scolded suddenly, "Stop dreaming. The owner of the Xuanda Grotto is quite evil. There's a restriction underground. The buildings here seem to be like the stone monument. They're considered as a whole." As soon as these words came out, everyone looked regretful. Before this, Wang Jinyang had advised Fang Ping not to have any wicked ideas. Now, as he dug the soil, he stared at the crystal road. His reluctance to part was clear in his words. The stone monument was only a material used to create accessories for the mentality restriction. He did not value it too much. If a middle-ranked and low-ranked martial artist encountered a high-ranked martial artist, even with this, could they really survive? Maybe the source stones were different, especially when they were all of the highest quality. If he brought them back to NMAU within 3 months, the strength of all NMAU instructors and students would increase a lot. Middle-ranked martial artists did not care about mentality. Before rank 6, there was no need to locate the Sanjiao Gate. From rank 1 to rank 5, the body honed, the bones honed, the internal organs honed, the flesh and meridians honed. The word honed ran through rank 1 to rank 5. All of this required a large amount of energy to support the martial artist's consumption. Energy was not unlimited. If it was consumed, it would be reduced. If there were more martial artists, the energy consumption would be greater. NMAU was not as rich and imposing as MCMAU. They could not support this kind of cultivation. Right now, right under his nose, a real energy Tao was at his disposal, but he could only see it and not take it. Wang Jinyang felt like his heart was broken. As he dug the soil ferociously, he stared at the Tao with a dim light in his eyes, as if he wanted to swallow the Tao alive. The other two were the same. Fang Ping was not surprised at all. Martial artists were actually people who would open their eyes to money back then in order to get some resources. Old Wang did not hesitate to go south and north. He started to cause trouble when he was rank 1, and he even instigated Fang Ping. He was not a good person either. It was just that after reaching the high ranks, some things were not too eye-catching. That was why he was as calm as a big brother. However, when he saw those divine weapons in the king's battleground that day, his eyes were still red, as if he had seen a naked beauty. Yao Qingjun and Li Hansong were no exception. Right now, they all had the same expression. Fang Ping was slightly better. As he filled the energy fluid, he looked around and said casually, "Don't be so short-sighted. It's like you've never seen the energy stones before. It's not easy to come to the boundary zone. Are we here for these things?" "Yes," the three of them said in unison. Fang Ping's face darkened. "Nonsense. We're here for the cultivation methods, for all of humanity to become stronger. Who said we're here for these?" The three of them showed a look of disdain at the same time. "Since you're not here, then you King started to fill the energy fluid without saying a word. How many big bottles did you prepare?" "No, there were also big boxes. This guy actually built quite a number of huge energy crystal boxes. The few of them were in awe of him. No one was as well prepared as him. If it were someone else, even if they came in, even if they saw all these, they might not have the chance to take them away." Fang Ping ignored them. He looked around and soon felt that something was wrong. Then he looked up. With this look, Fang Ping said with a shocked expression, "CK? I thought we've already reached the place. It feels like we're still underground. Guys, the Sky Palace is still in the sky." The place they entered was already at the top of a mountain thousands of meters high. Fang Ping thought that after entering the gatehouse, they had already reached the place. But now, when he looked up again, there was actually an incomparably huge palace floating in the air. Previously, when it was blocked by the atomized energy fluid, he did not notice it. As soon as Fang Ping said that, Old Wang and the others looked up quickly. Li Hansong murmured, "It's the same as last time." "No, this place is even higher than the Void Mausoleum Grotto Heaven's Sky Palace. I remember that the Void Mausoleum Grotto Heaven's Sky Palace is only a few hundred meters in the air. This place is almost 10,000 meters in the air, right? That stretch of endless Sky Palace, even at this moment, was still thousands of meters high in the air. What did this mean? This meant that it was at least 10,000 meters high from the sea level where they entered the bounded zone. "Fang Ping, are you sure this is really not your Sky Palace?" Li Hansong asked again. "Such a tall Sky Palace. Are you sure it was not built by you? If it was not Fang Ping, then the owner of the Xuanda Grotto Heaven was really arrogant." Fang Ping stared at the Sky Palace in the sky, ignoring him. Instead, he said in a low voice, "Be careful, all of you. Don't forget, we encountered that powerful origin in Tian'an last time. Since this place is well preserved, maybe there's also that thing." Hearing that, Li Hansong was a little frightened. He did not forget the last time, when he and Old Qin had just squeezed in. They were controlled by that huge force and then thrown out. Looking around, Li Hansong's eyes flickered slightly. There are also buildings underground. Could it be that the Sky Palace is actually a place where the owner stays and the servants live below? Fang Ping and the others also saw that the area they were in also had buildings. Above them was the Sky Palace suspended in the air. It was a grand scale. Below them, there were also pavilions and towers, the buildings magnificent. As they looked and looked, Fang Ping focused and said, "Be careful, all of you. This place seems to have been destroyed." Fang Ping frowned slightly. He had already seen some buildings in front of him. He did not look too closely before, but now that he looked closely, he realized that something was wrong. Among the buildings, some had already collapsed. It did not seem like they had collapsed naturally over a long period of time. Instead, they were affected and destroyed by the war. Back then, the minister said that the soil that Qin Fengqing ate was not soil, Wang Jinyang said in a low voice, and the few of them reacted quickly. The soil in the boundary zone was actually not just pure soil. It included some messy things: the flesh and blood of powerhouses, the existence of mentality that had been obliterated, imperishable substances, even some of the origin that had spilled out. Previously, they had not really thought about it in detail. Now that they thought about it, did this not mean that the boundary zone had actually also had a war? Could it be that the war back then had affected a wide area, even fighting all the way to their lair, all the way to the boundary zone, and not just limited to the place where the kings fought? Fang Ping said softly, "That's true. It's impossible that the boundary zone did not leave people behind and went out in full force. Maybe in the later stages of the war, some people retreated, and in the end, a war still broke out." Fang Ping said casually. A big bottle was already full. Fang Ping kept the bottle and the box of soil that old Wang and the others had dug up. Looking ahead at the main road, he said, "Let's go. We'll put these small coins aside for now. Let's go take a look at the buildings." As he said that, Fang Ping raised his head and looked at the Sky Palace. The huge Sky Palace buildings seemed to have existed since ancient times, suspended in the air, not moving an inch. This Sky Palace, how did it float up? Everyone shook their heads. They really did not know. This was not a small house. This was an incomparably huge building that stretched for thousands of miles. Fang Ping and the others could also do it now, controlling a small house with mentality and making it float in the air. However, if they were dead, then it would be useless. Absolute peak could solidify mentality, which could be achieved for a long time, like the Imperial Sea Mountain. However, the Imperial Sea Mountain also had a foundation. It was built by piling up countless huge boulders. It did not appear out of thin air. However, the Sky Palace was really suspended in the air. Such an incomparably huge building. A boundary zone might not have expended any less energy than the Imperial Sea Mountain. It was simply unbelievable. Li Hansong stared at the Sky Palace for a while, asking, "Can we go up?" Fang Ping, in the past, martial arts ranks were strict. The Sky Palace buildings should be where the masters are. The token that you have and the aura that you imitate might not be some core personnel. "I know," Fang Ping said in a low voice. "Don't go up first. If we alarm something, then it'll be troublesome. We might end up with nothing. Search below first. This token is a rank 9 powerhouses token, although we can only imitate that rank 7 martial artists aura. Rank 7 is not cabbage. There might be a way to enter the Sky Palace. Below, there shouldn't be too many restrictions. The Sky Palace, that's hard to say. We'll check it out later. Even if we're thrown out, we won't end up with nothing." "I'm not afraid of being thrown out. I'm afraid," Li Hansong said softly. "I'm afraid that I'll be like the Yang family's old ancestor. Outside, I'll be suppressed to death." That day, Qin Fengqing said that he saw the Yang family's old ancestor being suppressed to death at the main entrance of the Sky Palace's Imperial Road. Who suppressed him? If he was not mistaken, it was that powerful source energy that was suppressing it. Even an absolute peak could be suppressed to death. It was really too scary. If the boundary zone had ill intentions towards them, with just the few of them, they would be 100% finished. No matter how golden Fong Ping's core house was, it was useless. Once it suppressed you, you would die without a doubt. Fong Ping licked his slightly dry lips and laughed. Since we're already here, don't think too much about it. Every time we enter the catacombs, it's like this. If there's really no danger, would it be our turn? As he said that, Fong Ping took a step and said, "Let's go." He was just about to move when Li Hansong said reluctantly, "Let's dig a little more. Otherwise, if we're thrown out later, we'll have come here for nothing." Fong Ping was speechless. He said, "This soil is a little different from what Qin Fengqin grabbed. The energy is very rich, comparable to rank 7 and 8 energy stones, but it doesn't seem to be mixed with anything else. For a little rank 7 and 8 energy stones, don't waste too much time." The few of them looked at him in unison. "Fong Ping, you're too full of yourself. In the past, you were green with envy for low-grade energy stones. Now, you actually don't care about these." Fong Ping looked helpless. When these guys came in, they kept persuading him not to be green with envy when they saw good things. "I haven't even been green with envy, but you guys are green with envy first." To be honest, Fong Ping did not have much need for things like energy stones now. If he really had a need, that mineral vein of his would be enough for him to use. Now, the only thing that limited his rapid progress in his realm was mentality. After achieving mentality, vitality, unity, he could nurture his mentality. His speed was not slow. In just a few months, his mentality had exceeded 2,200 hertz. It was only late September now. At the beginning of the year, he was only rank 5. However, to Fong Ping, it was still slow. As his knowledge grew, the number of paragons he had seen was more than a handful. The Fong Ping now felt that even a rank 9 was weak. At the very least, he had to be a rank 9 paragon. "All right, dig another box. Once we're done, we'll go explore immediately. You guys, this is all you're asking for." The few of them turned a deaf ear to him. Yes, this was all we were asking for. There was no other way. They were poor. It's not like everyone is as rich as you. Also, if you had the guts, don't take it. While they were digging, Fong Ping began to use the big bottle to scoop up the energy liquid again. More than 10 minutes later, Yao Qingjun said in a low voice, "Dig another box." "Okay." Fong Ping agreed readily. "I'll try fishing another bottle." Half an hour later, Old Wang said, "4 of us dig 4 boxes. 1 box for each person to distribute." "Okay." 40 minutes later, Fong Ping said with a serious expression, "We're not digging anymore. It's been so long, and we haven't done anything yet." Everyone nodded. There was no other reason. The soil beside the Crystal Avenue was almost hollowed out by them. They did not dare to dig too deep. There was a restriction underneath. Moreover, the soil here was only crystallized energy on the surface. When they reached the depths, it was not much different from the outside world. Not only them, Fong Ping had also almost fished up the energy liquid nearby. He had fished up 4 big bottles. The surrounding energy was obviously much thinner. The few of them did not have any more ideas about the soil and energy liquid. One by one, they stepped onto the Crystal Avenue. Very soon, the few of them walked along the Crystal Avenue and headed toward the depths. Just as they left, outside the border wall, Chun Yaozu and the others could vaguely see the situation inside the border wall now. After staring at the border wall for a while, Chun Yaozu said slowly, "Did you guys notice?" Second Patriarch, "What's wrong?" "I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me. You guys, didn't you guys notice that the border of the border wall, the ground seems to be a little lower? The few of them craned their necks to look at the border wall. The border wall was a little blurry, not very clear. After looking for a while, someone mumbled, "It seems to be a little shorter. It seems much lower than where we are. They're scraping the ground 3 feet deep." Someone murmured. He could not help but ask in a low voice. Second Patriarch, are these few really that pure and kind? It was not that they could not scrape the ground 3 feet deep. The key was that these few fellows had not gone in for long. Without doing anything serious, they actually went to dig the ground. This was too weird. Chun Yaozu did not answer. He said again, "The energy that seeped in seems to be much weaker. The energy tide this time won't disappear, right?" Fong Ping had fished up 4 big bottles of energy near the border wall. Now, he could clearly feel that the energy that seeped in had become much weaker. The energy that had seeped out when the border wall was forcefully opened earlier had also disappeared. If this went on, the energy tide this time might not erupt. Of course, regardless of whether it would or not, the energy that had seeped out earlier and erupted a lot might have attracted the attention of some monsters. If the monsters moved, the Maple King's men would probably be here soon. Moreover, it was almost the time for the normal energy tide to erupt. The few of them looked at each other. These few fellows were really something. Bandits crossing the border. Energy, soil. If it were outsiders who entered, they would probably not even consider these. Someone mumbled, "The avenue behind the gatehouse is still there. The bounded zones buildings are integrated. With the avenue, it can't be moved away." Inside the bounded zone, the 4 of them walked forward on the Crystal Avenue. After walking for a while, a huge palace came into view. Wang Jinyong stared at the signboard of the palace for a while and said, "Guest Palace." Fong Ping glanced at him and said, "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. This is the place to welcome the guests. More or less. It's not far from the gatehouse. It's probably where the guests temporarily rest." As Wang Jinyang said that, he looked toward the right side of the avenue. There was also a big hall there, but it looked much more boorish. He said, "Myriad Beasts Palace." "Myriad Beasts Palace?" Fong Ping rubbed his chin and said, "Myriad Beasts Palace. Is it where the guests keep their mounts?" "Probably." Wang Jinyang nodded and said, "The left side welcomes the guests, and the right side houses the mounts. That's normal." The doors of the 2 big halls were closed at the moment. The guest palace on the left had some carvings on the huge bronze ancient door. The Myriad Beasts Palace on the right had many carvings of demons. Li Hansong looked left and right, asking, "Which way should we go?" Fong Ping was not in a hurry to answer. Another stone appeared in his hand, and he threw it toward the guest palace's door. The stone hit the door, making a crisp metallic sound. "Let's go in and take a look at the guest palace. But this is only a place to welcome the guests. There might not be anything good inside." Fong Ping did not hold out much hope. It was normal. Who would store anything good in a place for the guests to rest temporarily? Everyone had no objections. However, when they walked to the front of the bronze door that was more than 10 meters tall, Li Hansong still asked carefully, "There won't be any living people inside, right?" Yao Chongjun did not care too much about this. Instead, he looked toward the door and said, "Under normal circumstances, isn't the door always open for the guest palace? Why is it closed?" Maybe it was on the eve of the Great War that year. They knew that no one would come, so they closed the door. "It's quite normal," Fong Ping explained casually. Wang Jinyang laughed and said, "It's hard to say. Maybe after the Great War, some people fled here and closed the door in order to avoid it. The buildings here are one. I feel that it's also connected to the seal. Maybe it has a certain defense system. The few of them were not making idle guesses. They were worried that opening the door would cause some trouble or attack. The divine armor appeared on Li Hansong's body. He said, "Then I'll try to open the door. You guys stay away." This bounded zone has existed for at least 2,000 years. The battle at the Marshall King battlefield was at least 2,000 years ago. If there's really someone alive, the energy here is so rich. Everyone sucked in a deep breath. 2,000 years. Even a pig wouldn't have a low cultivation base under such rich energy. Of course, it was normal for it to die before it could break through. Although martial artists rarely cared about how long powerhouses could live, it was common for rank 7 powerhouses to live for 200 to 300 years. Rank 8 was even more awesome. Rank 8 golden body powerhouses always had abundant energy. It might not be difficult for them to live for 1,000 years. Fang Ping and the others were too lazy to think about how long they could live. It would not be too late to verify it after they had lived for a few thousand years. Li Hansong and the others took a few steps back. They followed the stairs and walked toward the hall door. When Li Hansong started to push the door, a faint vibration came from the gigantic, ancient bronze door. The door did not open. Fang Ping observed for a while and said, "It should be a token. The grotto heaven is quite strict." After saying that, Fang Ping did not hide anymore. He went up the stairs and unleashed his vitality. The token emitted a faint glow. As if it had been too long. The hall door trembled for a while. After a long time, the hall door trembled slightly. The 2 doors began to open slowly. The moment the hall door opened, a decaying aura erupted from the gap of the door. Fang Ping and Li Hansong both took a few steps back. They were not in a hurry to enter. They stood on both sides of the door and waited. "Is anyone there?" Fang Ping shouted. Then he said loudly, "We are human martial artists. Earth martial artists. Humans are about to perish. The future generations are here to seek help from the ancestors of the Grotto Heaven powerhouses." After shouting for a while, Fang Ping said, "Let's go. Let's greet them first. Otherwise, someone will say that we came uninvited." After saying that, Li Hansong still took the lead. Fang Ping and the others were extremely vigilant. They stepped into the hall together. "Have we lost?" "No, it can't be. Where's the sect leader? Where are the 9 true God elders? Brothers, follow me and fight our way out. The sect leader will come back." The moment Fang Ping and the others stepped into the hall, a murmur echoed in everyone's ears in the spacious hall. At this moment, everyone seemed to go back in time, back to a few thousand years ago. Before their eyes, scenes of the past seemed to appear. All the powerhouses of the Schwanda Grotto Heaven went out and went to the restricted area to eliminate the enemy. In the end, no one returned. Countless powerhouses surged over and killed their way into the Grotto Heaven. In the guest reception palace, some of the disciples of the Grotto Heaven sect were in despair and disbelief. Under the leadership of some people, they killed their way out of the hall and fought with the enemy. In their ears, the murmurs dissipated quickly. Fang Ping touched a giant pillar in front of him gently. It was stained with some dark colors. It should be blood stains. Back then, there seemed to be a great battle here, too. Fang Ping knew that it was not an auditory hallucination. It was the unwilling roar of the group of people in the hall that year. It echoed in the hall for thousands of years. Here, martial artists above rank 7 might have died in battle. Rank 7 martial artists' mentality, remnants might leave behind some fragments. Sighing, Fang Ping touched the giant pillar and said softly, "The metal giant pillar is comparable to A-class alloy. No, maybe it's even stronger. Ancient martial artists are really rich. It was such a huge metal pillar. At a glance, there were actually dozens of them in the main hall. On the giant pillars, exquisite patterns were carved. They were luxurious yet restrained. All of them are money. Fong Ping sighed again. In the blessed grotto heaven, he finally understood what it meant to be extravagant. Compared to them, modern martial artists were really poor beyond belief. Someone like old Zhang, who was at the pinnacle, was actually so poor. However, it was just a guest reception hall. If it was really demolished, maybe he could buy dozens of divine weapons. No, maybe even more. It's a pity that I can't take it away. Old Zhang probably hasn't entered the bounded domain before. Otherwise, he would be green with envy. Fong Ping sighed again and again, but he did not forget to look around. When he saw the beam above the hall, Fong Ping suddenly rubbed his eyes and said in a daze, Is this the torso of a rank 9 monster plant? The martial artists of the ancient martial era were too crazy. The beam above the hall seemed to be the torso of a rank 9 monster plant. Fong Ping felt that he could not be wrong. This was too awesome. Using the torso of a rank 9 monster plant, especially a tree monster plant, as a beam was unheard of. This was just the guest reception palace. The sky palace in the sky. How spectacular would that be? No, how rich? Fong Ping was still in shock. Not far away, Wang Jinyang and the others had already begun their inspection. The hall was not really empty. There were some huge chairs on both sides. They did not look like modern chairs, but more like the thrones in the catacombs. As for the skeleton, he did not see it. He did not know whether it was self-annihilation after death, or if some of the people who died that year survived and restrained it. Chapter 666. Fong Ping. While Fong Ping was still staring at the crossbeam above, Yao Chengjun shouted. The few of them looked at him. Yao Chengjun was holding a crystal book in his hand. Crystal book? Fong Ping was stunned for a moment. He walked over immediately and asked in surprise, What is this? It was very similar to old Zhang's crystal book. Of course, there were differences. Fong Ping took the crystal book and looked at it. After a while, he said, It's not a mentality clone. Nonsense. Beside him, Wang Jinyang took the crystal book and looked at Yao Chengjun. You realized it, right? Yes. The two of them were talking in riddles. Li Hansong looked confused, while Fong Ping looked calm. I knew you guys want to see me asking anxiously, but I won't ask. Say it if you want. Old Wang glanced at him and suddenly released his mentality to explore the crystal book. Soon he frowned and said, It's a book from the ancient martial era. It's very interesting. The ancient martial era isn't as backward as we thought. Old Wang said, The material of this crystal book can't be determined, but the person who made this book should be at least a rank 7 martial artist. Only mentality can read it. Li Hansong finally understood and said happily, Cultivation method? Wasn't it a little too easy? Magazine. Everyone was stunned. Wang Jinyang said, casually, Ancient gossip magazine. It should be for the guests to read, to relieve boredom. This also proves that the guests who come to the Grotto Heaven as guests are at least rank 7. Rank 7 is the standard to be received. It's really extravagant. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing to use this to relieve boredom if those below rank 7 could not read it. Fong Ping also used his mentality at this moment. As expected, once his mentality was released, he saw many words on the crystal book. This thing was similar to invisible ink. Normal people could not see the words at all. Fong Ping looked at the words and felt a headache coming on. He really did not know much about seal script. He did not even know if it was seal script. He really did not have much time to learn these things. He was too busy. What does it mean, Old Wang? Read it. I don't know many. Since you said it was a magazine, you should understand some of it. Tell me, is there any information related to cultivation methods? All right. Lao Wang carefully analyzed the situation. After a long time, he slowly said, April XNC, Bamboo Mountain Zhang. Wait. Fang Ping glanced at him. After a while, he said, Zhang, so-and-so? Don't be so picky about words. You know that ancient words are quite complicated. Wang Jinyang skipped the story and did not read it out loud. He translated, on the 13th of April, an expert surnamed Zhang from Mtgaiju was dragged into the water by a big fish while he was fishing. It was an extremely embarrassing incident. I'm recording it for everyone's amusement. On the 18th of May, an elder with the surname Lu from Changshan pursued a female elder from Tianmu Mountain. He was ganged up by 3 nameless real god experts. 12th of June, the birthday of the Dongyang Mountain sect leader's daughter. The Dongyang Mountain sect leader caught a dragon as a birthday present. June 18th, Purple Cap Mountain's first seat MO. Unquestionable sword. Wang Jinyang was stunned. Fang Ping and the others were also stunned. Fang Ping said quickly, Unquestionable sword? There are records of the unquestionable sword on it. Are you sure you didn't see wrongly? No, it's him. Wang Jinyang said in a low voice. 18th of June, Purple Cap Mountain's first seat unquestionable sword's wedding. The sword broke through the void and became a true god. Fang Ping frowned slightly. True gods are rank 9. Rank 9. Rank 9 or rank 9 paragons are called true gods. Rank 9, I guess, Li Hansong said. You've forgotten that the Hall of Myriad Origins has records of rank 9. They're all called true gods. Duh, of course I know. Fang Ping was speechless. The point is that it was already 1,000 years after the battle at the King battlefield. Do you know that nothing has changed in these 1,000 years? Maybe there were many paragons in the past. Only paragons are called true gods. Later, all the paragons died. Rank 9s also started to be called true gods. There's even a distinction between true kings and false kings in the catacombs. During the ancient martial era, it's really hard to say whether a rank 9 is true god or a paragon. Don't forget, the corpses of powerhouses that we found in the King battlefield were almost all rank 9. If they were all true gods, then too many true god powerhouses have died in the King battlefield. Shwanda Grotto Heaven seems to only have 9 true god elders. Li Hansong retorted, Then can there still be 9 paragons? That's not even considered a sect leader. Wang Jinyang sighed softly. It might not be impossible. Everyone, don't forget how many paragons are there in the restricted area now. Li Hansong thought about it and said after a while, there are at least 100 people in the 4 major dynasties. Maybe more than 100. There are at least 50 paragons on Earth, but they are still suppressed by the Monster Plants dynasty. I suspect that there are even more paragons in the 4 major dynasties. And this is now. What about back then? Back then, there were still 2 kings alive. Maybe they were even stronger. After all, we can infer the grand occasion back then from Mount Imperial Sea. If that's the case, if the bounded domain can really suppress the other party, everyone in the 108 bounded domains, there might not be people everywhere, and there might not be sex everywhere. Maybe there's only a small portion. If that's the case, we can suppress the other party. 1 Grotto Heaven, 9 paragons, why not? Yao Qingjun also said it's still possible. Fang Ping, on the other hand, chuckled and said, it's a waste not to take them. Good stuff. 6 chairs and 4 tables. You guys don't know. Mother of asterisk cur. It's so extravagant. They're all made from the monster plant's torso. And not just any monster plant's torso. A rank 8 golden body. Fang Ping sighed and said, that's awesome. It's just a guest hall. Using the rank 8 golden body monster plants torso to make these things, and a rank 9 torso to make the beam, although there's no heart nucleus or brain nucleus. Just these materials alone are good stuff to forge divine weapons. Go back and dismantle it. Just this alone, it won't be difficult to sell it for hundreds of billions. The few of them did not say much. Yao Qingjun opened his mouth and said, "There are some residences behind the basilica. It should be the place where the servants or disciples lived back then. We looked around and didn't find any skeletons. Some of the residences are a little messy, probably because they packed their luggage in a hurry." Wang Jinyang added, "The people here might not have all died back then. Some might have run away. Also, after the boundary was attacked, the boundary wall rose again and sealed this place. Did powerhouses come back?" "I don't know." Fong Ping shook his head and said, "There's nothing else here. It's just a guest hall. I don't expect to find too many things. Let's go and look elsewhere." The few of them did not delay and left the guest hall in no time. When they came out, they realized that Li Hansong did not come out. After a while, Li Hansong came out. When this guy came out, Fong Ping and the others were stunned. Li Hansong was carrying a super huge bag in his hand. He grinned and said, "Didn't I go to the back of the basilica now? I saw a lot of soil at the back. It's not ordinary soil. I think it's like the soil from the garden or the herb garden back then. So I dug it up." Fong Ping laughed, took out an energy crystal box, and stored the soil inside. This thing could be preserved more perfectly if it was stored in this box. The few of them plucked everything. Fong Ping swept away all the furniture in the hall. Li Hansong was even more straightforward. He even dug up the soil in the residential area at the back of the basilica. As for the furniture and the like in the residential area, Old Wang and the others were not interested. That was some simple and crude furniture made of real wood. Many of them had already decayed. The residential area behind the guest hall was probably where the low-ranking disciples lived. They were not surprised. This was the guest hall. It was probably a place where some servants who served tea and poured water stayed. What good stuff could there be? It was good enough that they could get their hands on some furniture. Fong Ping and the others had just left the guest hall when the door closed with a bang. The few of them stopped in their tracks, their bodies stiff. Fong Ping did not say a word. He turned around and bowed in the direction of the palace, saying loudly, "I'm using these to increase the strength of humans. Senior, please forgive me. I don't mean to be greedy." Beside him, Old Wang's body stiffened for a moment. He recovered quickly and said lightly, "All right, it's not that someone is here. Without the support of your tokens, aura," they left the palace and sealed the door. Fong Ping breathed a sigh of relief. He could not help but say, "You scared me. Ironhead, don't do this kind of thing next time. You don't even let the soil go." Li Hansong was speechless. "I'm learning from you, okay?" The few of them said no more and quickly walked toward the Thousand Beasts Palace. Since they were already here, of course, they had to sweep the palaces one by one. They would take whatever they could. Wouldn't it be a waste to leave it here? At the same time, just as Fong Ping and the others entered the Thousand Beasts Palace, the Forbidden Catacombs, the war had officially broken out. Hundreds of high-ranked powerhouses were fighting in the air. In the distance, tens of thousands of Wuan soldiers had also formed a military formation. Under the leadership of more than 10 vitality fusion powerhouses, they were fighting the enemy. This time, it was a battle to exterminate the catacombs. It was not only a battle between high-ranked powerhouses. Middle and low-ranked powerhouses would also participate. They would fight until one side was completely powerless and had to retreat from the 18 southern regions. The rank 9 battle zone. Old Man Li roared madly, "I'm not a rank 9. Mother asterisk Kerr, you really think too highly of me. Come on, don't force me. Old man Li was going crazy. For this war, Sino Nation had sent out 16 rank, 9 powerhouses. Xie Yifan had not arrived, but the old Taoist who guarded the Mount Imperial Sea passageway had escaped. He was also a rank 9 powerhouse, a rank 9 that almost no one in the outside world knew about. 16 rank 9s. More than half of them were rank 9 powerhouses. Nan Yunyue, Zhang Weiyu, Wu Chuan, Zhao Xingwu, Wang Yu Li Deong. These people were as strong as Nan Yunyue. Although she could not kill the enemy, even if she fought 1 against 3, she could still hold on. Zhang Weiyu and the others could take on 2 opponents at the same time. Of course, if there were too many rank 9s, they could forget about killing them. Rank 9 against rank 9. Suppressing the other party was fine, but killing them was not an easy task. Previously, when Wu Quishan and Old Man Li teamed up to fight Skygate Tree, it took a long time. Sino Nation had 16 rank 9 powerhouses participating in the war, but the catacombs had more. This time, 8 people came from the Forbidden Area alone. 8 rank 9. The Forbidden Catacombs originally had 12 cities and 24 rank 9s. 32 rank 9s. It was more than expected. Among the 8 rank 9s from the Forbidden Area, 1 was to protect Ji Yao. He did not join the others' battle circle, always following behind Ji Yao. As for the other 7, 5 of them were generals under King Huai's command. The other 2 were from the monster plan's King Court. This time, King Huai had also turned out in full force. He did not have many generals under his command. Previously, he wanted to subdue the Skygate City Lord, but he did not expect that he would die before Skygate City Lord entered the Forbidden Area. There were only 6 divine generals under King Huai's command now. Divine generals were different from the city lords of other territories. Divine generals were equivalent to their private soldiers. Although the city lords of other territories were technically under the true king's command, in reality, these city lords all had very complicated backgrounds. In this war, other than leaving 1 person to guard his king's territory in the Forbidden Area, King Huai sent all the remaining 5 divine generals, 32 rank 9s, other than the 1 behind Ji Yao, who did not participate in the war. 31 had participated. Rank 9 powerhouses like Nan Yunyue, 6 of them ranked in the top 11, had held up 14 rank 9 powerhouses. The remaining 10 could not fight 1 against 2. Most of them were 1-on-1. However, like Magic City Old Fan, ranked 15th among the rank 9. Chun Haodong, the family head of the Chun family, Shun Mingwei, the family head of the Shun family, Bei Gongyan, the commander of the Wuan army, Zhong Qinghuan, these few people all had rank 9 divine weapons. They were also the few powerhouses who had rank 9 divine weapons. They managed to hold up 13 people with 10 of them. Guo Shengqiuan's 3 resurrected martial artists were still quite powerful, Old Wang, and the rest felt that the rank 8 powerhouses were weak, but that was built on the basis of comparing themselves. However, how could 3 powerhouses who had comprehended the origin of Tao be too weak? With the 3 of them working together, they had also held up a rank 9. As for the remaining 3 rank 9 powerhouses, according to the original plan, Li Chongsheng would hold up 1 of them, and the remaining 2 would be handled by some rank 8 powerhouses. Everyone was waiting for Nan Yunyue to break through and kill some powerhouses. Who knew something that no one could have predicted would happen? As soon as Li Chongsheng showed up, 3 rank 9s went to kill him. At this time, Old Man Li flew into a rage, roaring madly, "Don't force me!" Longevity Sword, you will definitely die today. The 3 rank 9s who went against him were all from the same side, the divine generals under King Huai. The moment Li Changxing showed up, King Huai recognized him. The MCMAU powerhouse who killed the Sky Gate tree. King Huai hated MCMAU to the core. MCMAU Fang Ping had ruined his plans twice. Now that he saw Li Changxing participating in the battle, and others did not know, he knew that the other party had a trump card that could kill a rank 9, and it was even the Netherworld King's void-piercing sword technique. When the battle started, he sent a voice transmission to the 3 divine generals that they must kill him. If this person did not die, he would also be a disaster. He actually took the land of rebirth, the path of an ancient martial artist, and one of the most unique paths. In this aspect, King Huai knew even more than the human paragon. If this kind of person died, then so be it. But if he did not die, he would become a disaster sooner or later. 3 rank 9s besieging a martial artist whose true realm was still rank 8. If it were an ordinary person, he would have been beaten to death long ago. 3 rank 8s besieging a rank 9 was more like it. Now, the tables were turned. Faced with such a lineup, even Wu Chuan would be beaten. However, old man Li did not fight head-on. A few times he was injured. He swallowed a mouthful of life essence and continued to run. Behind him, a few human rank 8 powerhouses wanted to help, but the 3 rank 9s ignored them completely. King Huai said that regardless of the other martial artists in the land of rebirth, they must kill Li Changsheng. The 3 of them besieged Li Changsheng, but he ran out of the encirclement a few times. In the end, one of the divine generals could not stand it anymore and shouted, "Divine General, Hulei, this person is from MCMAU. Teacher Fang Ping, join forces and kill him." Li Changsheng was about to cry. Just as this rank 9 shouted, the 2 divine generals from the Monster Plant's royal court suddenly shouted, "He is Fang Ping's teacher." That's right. Damn it. Fang Ping killed my descendant in the land of rebirth. He deserves to die. He deserves to die. From afar, Jiao also shouted, "Uncle Hulei, kill him." 2 divine generals from the Monster Plant's royal court, and this divine general from the Monster Life royal court. All of a sudden, the 3 of them looked at Old Man Li. Old Man Li's eyes were green. 6. Fighting Nen Yunyue now did not even require 6 rank 9s. They thought too highly of him. Old Man Li was about to collapse. Fang Ping, that little bastard, told them, before he left, not to mention his name. He did not. But now he was done for. On the other side, Guo Shengquan and the other 2 did not say a word. At this time, the 3 of them had no intention of saying that they were also from MCMAU. It was not just them. In the rank 7 area far away, Tang Feng and Lu Fengru were also fighting in silence, not even blinking. Lu Fengru was also very sad. These people had directly ignored her, Fang Ping's real teacher. They had their eyes on Li Changsheng. They could not blame them for targeting Li Changsheng. Who asked Li Changsheng to be so ostentatious? A rank 8 killing a rank 9. But now, with Fang Ping, he was in trouble. 6 rank 9s. Even if Old Man Fan and the rest were holding back the 2 Monster Plant's royal court god generals, both of them were also bristling with anger. One of them roared, "Everyone, hold them back. We'll go kill Li Changsheng first. Oh, you guys a favor." Old Man Fan and the rest were also very helpless. Tianmu was also speechless. They had 10 people against 13 rank 9s. If the other party really ran away, it would be difficult for them to break through the other party's defense line in a short time. But if that happened, Li Changsheng would really be in trouble. 1 against 6. And it was still a rank 8 against a rank 9. Old Man Li was already about to collapse. He roared and fled frantically. He wanted to run. He had no choice but to run. It was too scary. 6 rank 9s wanted to kill him. Behind him, Ji Yao shouted, "Uncle Hule, kill him!" "Your Highness, Uncle Hule, no one below God General can kill me. Quickly go and kill him." Hule glanced at the other human rank 9s who were being held back. After thinking for a while, he still chased after them into the distance. On the other side, 2 god generals had also extricated themselves from the battle, chasing after the escaping old man Li together. Old man Li flew madly, with a muffled cry. His face was really purple now. He didn't expect that things would turn out like this. He thought that even if King Huai knew about him, he would at most send 1 or 2 rank 9s to kill him. In the end, King Huai paid more attention to him than he expected. 3 came. This was not enough, because Fang Ping lured him 3 more. 6 rank 9s. Was it enough to kill the current Nan Yunyue? Maybe not, because among these 6, there were probably only 3 who had comprehended the origin path. The other 3 belonged to the weak rank 9s. But 6 people was enough to fight against Nan Yunyue. On Nan Yunyue's side, almost all of them were powerhouses who had comprehended the origin path. Although these 6 people were not as strong as Nan Yunyue and the rest, Old Man Li still broke down. He broke down so much that he wanted to curse out loud. Did Old Zhang know that this would happen? That was why he specially made a life-saving talisman for himself. But UF*King said it in advance. If you said 6 rank 9s, I might not come in. If I was caught, what else could I do other than die? Old Man Li brought the 6 rank 9s and escaped like lightning. On the battlefield, the pressure on the others was greatly reduced. No one expected such a change to happen. A guy who did not plan to let him participate in the battle could actually lure 6 rank 9s away. How unexpected! Nan Yunyue and the rest looked at each other, eager to make a move. If they broke through in time and killed some rank 9s, Li Chongsheng would bring them further away. They could not return in time to help, and the situation between rank 9s might change drastically. MCM, you guys are really something. A few people's eyes were teasing, but their hearts were solemn. Chapter 667. Xuanda Grotto. Fang Ping naturally knew nothing about the forbidden catacombs. In the Palace of Beasts, Fang Ping used the token to open the door again. When he entered the Palace of Beasts, Fang Ping's expression changed slightly. So did the others. Demons can't be trusted. Traitor. Just like before, there were remnants of voices in the hall. It was not just voices. Fang Ping found traces of a great battle here. Inside the Palace of Beasts, there were bloodstains. Even after thousands of years, these bloodstains did not disappear. The incomparably huge palace was completely different from the caves of the demon race. This place was extremely magnificent and seemed even more luxurious than the guest palace. Fang Ping looked at the roof subconsciously. There were also beams made of monster plants' torsos. Fang Ping looked for a while and suddenly said, "Say, do you think that the monster plants and the monster plants royal court are against us because these ancestors killed too many monster plants? Mounts should be monsters, right? No one would ride a tree around, right? Is it because our ancestors killed them too badly, so now they're taking revenge on us?" Everyone was speechless. How would they know if you asked us? Fang Ping continued. They said that the demons are traitors. I saw that senior's record when I was in the Imperial battleground. The people in the restricted area seemed to be able to make their mounts fall into chaos. Is the same thing happening here? It should be. Wang Jinyang looked around. The Palace of Beasts was still very luxurious. There were no chairs or anything like that. Monsters did not need them. However, the hall was very, very big. Like the guest palace, there were no remains. But here, there were many energy stones. many energy stones. The ground was almost completely covered with energy stones. It was very messy. Fong Ping swept his gaze across. Just the energy stones scattered on the ground alone were at least a few thousand caddies. This is used to feed monsters? Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many energy stones lying around without anyone asking about them. Back then, monsters were actually fed with high-ranked energy stones. Fong Ping once again called it extravagant. These energy stones had not been depleted by the passage of time. The hall was closed, but the energy did not dissipate. Even if it was not closed, the energy outside was rich. Fong Ping guessed that this place might have the effect of automatically gathering energy. Otherwise, it would not be able to produce energy like rain. There was no need to say anything. A few thousand kilograms of energy stones, at least 1 or 2 tons, would be worth nearly $1 trillion. And these were the ones that were left behind after the Great Battle. The people of the domain zone were really extravagant. Just how many energy mines had they dug back then? Under the seal, was there an ore vein? Fong Ping seriously suspected that there was an energy mine beneath the bounded boundary. Through the seal, energy seeped in and gathered here. Otherwise, there would not be so much energy. The old ancestors were really good. Back then, they used energy stones as stones. No wonder there were so many experts. If there were such conditions in the neo-martial arts era, wouldn't the number of powerhouses explode? How could modern martial artists have such conditions? Fong Ping felt that he was extremely shabby here. Would I be willing to use an 8th or 9th grade demon plant's trunk to make a table, chair, and bench, making beams? Would I be willing to feed the monster with high-grade energy stones? What's more, it was a few thousand kilograms. The last time the Jiao asked him for the imperishable substance, he almost felt like his heart was bleeding. So rich. He did not delay his work. Very soon, all the energy stones on the ground were swept clean. This time, the harvest was actually not small. Including the soil that Li Hansong dug, there were 5 large boxes of soil. 4 large bottles of energy fluid. In addition, there were some chairs and tables made from a rank 8 demon plant's trunk and a few thousand kilograms of high-grade energy stones. However, these did not help Fong Ping much. At most, they could only increase his wealth. What he lacked now was not wealth. The Hall of Beasts definitely doesn't have any cultivation methods. Fong Ping swept his gaze around. Suddenly, his eyes moved slightly. There seemed to be something on the ground. Walking over to take a look, Fong Ping picked up a crystal ring on the ground. It was very, very light, so light that Fong Ping thought it was not a real object. Beside him, Yao Chengjun also walked over. He took a look and frowned. This looks like a divine weapon. Divine weapon? No, it should be a divine weapon similar to my soul-splitting spear. Fong Ping, it seems to be a divine weapon related to mentality. Fong Ping tried to use his mentality to control it, but the crystal ring did not move. Yao Chengjun tried it too. In the end, the crystal ring began to change shape. Fong Ping's face turned green. "It's yours again?" Yao Chengjun was silent for a while, then said slowly, "Yes." "Who are you trying to fool?" Fong Ping cursed. If this was yours, he would jump into the Forbidden Sea. Old Yao had been corrupted. This guy actually wanted to keep this crystal ring for himself. Could he not hesitate when lying? Be more direct next time. Yao Chengjun looked embarrassed, but he still coughed softly. "Even if it's not mine, it should be related to me." Beside him, Li Hansong continued. "Old Yao, don't tell me you're a craftsman who specializes in forging weapons. You didn't say you were familiar with this crystal ring. Maybe it was made by your disciples and disciples. Your whole family does this kind of thing. This is also a disaster left behind by the ancestors. Now, The future generations have to bear it. Sigh. Wang Jinyang and the others looked at him in surprise. Why did he tell them all this? Fang Ping saw them looking at him, shrugged, and said, "There might be the ancestors' origins here. Maybe they can hear and understand, right?" As he said that, Fang Ping said loudly, "Senior, if they can hear us, remove the main hall's restriction. I'll bring it back to improve the humans' strength." The three of them were mentally exhausted. "You're good. You even want to fool the dead." Li Hansong saw him shouting, thought for a while, and said, "Maybe we were comrades in arms back then. Now that we've returned and are fighting the catacombs again, why don't we remove the restriction?" Old Yao and Old Wang were dumbfounded. "These two idiots, you're almost done." After shouting for a while, Fang Ping said helplessly, "All right, there's no movement. Let's go to another place. There's still a palace behind. It's best if we can find a place for training or a library or something like that. If that doesn't work, we can forge weapons or alchemy rooms or something like that. These places are more reliable. These two places were used to receive guests and demons. Moreover, they were in the outermost area. What good stuff could there be?" The few of them did not linger. After exiting the palace, the main door of the palace slammed shut once again. Li Hansong had been pulling for a long time, but still could not pull it out. Following the main road, they continued walking toward the back. On both sides of the road, there were not all buildings. Fang Ping saw that there seemed to be rice fields or herb fields. Anyway, they were squarish and looked like fields. Without saying a word, they continued digging. Needless to say, the soil in this place seemed to have an abundance of energy. After digging a few more boxes, Fang Ping's boxes were all used up. Fang Ping was rather disappointed. There were no treasures growing in this place. Logically, with such rich energy, there should be some grass growing, right? But there were none. This place had been sealed off for so many years. If there were any treasures or the like, the effect would definitely be good. The few of them walked on, plucking as many feathers as they could. Fang Ping also obtained a lot of energy liquids along the way. This time, he had gained a lot of energy liquids and energy soil. As for the other things, he did not gain much. The bounded domain was very big, spanning thousands of miles. Its width was not short either. Fang Ping and the others walked for thousands of meters and still could not see the end. At the end, the opposite side should be the Trichin catacombs. Walking and digging, very soon, Fang Ping saw the dilapidated building that he saw earlier. Unlike the Myriad Beasts Palace, this building was really destroyed. It seemed like it was directly cut by someone with a sharp weapon. "Old Wang, is that what you mean?" Wang Jinyang nodded slightly. "Almost. We've finally found the place. Let's go." Fang Ping was overjoyed. Although everyone had said that the mentality cultivation method might be the legacy of the origin, who could be sure? Maybe it was just that the others had not realized that the crystal book could also be passed down. In front of the door of the building, Fang Ping took out the token and released his aura. However, this time, the hall door kept trembling and did not open for a long time. Li Hansong said with a solemn expression, "I have a bad feeling about this." It was not just him. Everyone had a bad feeling. It was very difficult to open the door. Moreover, the library had a total of 3 floors. Would it count as one floor, or would there be no restrictions after entering through the main door? It was already so difficult to open the main door now. If they really had to enter level by level, what would they do next? It seemed like Fang Ping could not open it alone. Li Hansong and the other 2 did not say much and began to release their auras together. After a while, the hall door slowly opened. The moment the hall door opened, the situation inside came into view. On one side of the hall door, there was a table. Behind the table was a chair that looked like a rocking chair. A crystal book was placed on the table. When Fong Ping and the rest saw this scene, an image suddenly flashed in their minds. Once upon a time, there was an old man with white hair and a beard sitting on the rocking chair, holding a crystal book in his hand. He read while waiting for the disciples to enter and leave. Now, the table was still there, the crystal book was still there, the rocking chair was still there, but the person was not. The first floor was not a library, but rows of tables and chairs. Perhaps there was a group of people who read and studied here every day. When they encountered something they did not understand, they might even ask the old man at the door. Li Hansong mumbled, "There might be children here too. The first floor might even be a school." When the war broke out that year, Fong Ping, do you think that group of children died too? The bounded domain was a self-contained world. Were there no children here? There must be. When the war broke out, where were the children? Were they sent away in advance? Or were they already dead? Fong Ping said softly, "Thousands of years have passed. Let's not talk about this anymore. Now, humans are surrounded by danger. If we still can't get the mentality cultivation method this time, children, there are countless children among humans. After a few years, they might be homeless, dying in battle, dying in the war, dying on the run." Fong Ping's expression returned to normal. These tables were not considered good stuff. It seemed like the bounded domain was not so rich that every item was made from the body of a monster plant. On the right side of the hall, there was a staircase that led to the second floor. Fong Ping was not in a hurry to go upstairs. Instead, he kept the table and chair at the door into his storage space. This was good stuff. After all, there should have been powerhouses guarding this place back then. As for the crystal book, Fong Ping threw it to Old Wang. Old Wang glanced at it and said, "It seems to be gossip news too." Fong Ping was helpless. Could these seniors not be so embarrassing? Were they so free? Why didn't they read some cultivation methods and secret manuals? They read gossip every day. Good job. Upstairs, the few of them began to walk up the stairs. There was no door on the second floor. Standing at the entrance of the staircase, Fong Ping could even see the corner of some bookshelves. However, when Fong Ping was about to take a step in, he was bounced back. "Damn it," Fong Ping cursed. "Mentality barrier. I guess there would be this. There really is. A mentality barrier in a desperate situation. What should I do?" Only in a desperate situation could one solidify their mentality and not be extinguished for tens of millions of years. The token. It might not work. Try it. We're already at the door. If we can't get in, I'll go crazy. The few of them looked anxious. It did not matter if it was a normal cultivation method, but a mentality cultivation method, a myriad Tao integration cultivation method, or a separate golden body cultivation method was also possible. Walking the path of the flesh, the path of mentality, the path of myriad Tao integration. Ancient martial artists had developed many, many years more than modern martial artists. Even if modern martial artists did not cultivate, the reference value was incomparably huge. Fong Ping's vitality and mentality surged. The others did the same. The barrier still did not budge. What's going on? Don't tell me that the senior with this token, a rank 9, can't even enter an underground library? Fong Ping was very doubtful. This was only a library on the ground. It was not in the heavenly palace. It could not be that even a rank 9 could not enter, right? Maybe our aura is not pure. Wang Jinyang said in a low voice, "What you imitated was only the Green Bull sect leader's aura." According to our speculation, the other party might just be an outer sect disciple that skipped a generation. The bounded zone is the core boundary. An outer sect disciple One that skipped a generation can enter as he pleases? As for the guest palace and myriad beasts palace, they were open to the public. Entering should not be a problem. However, the library would obviously not be open to the public. What should we do? Fong Ping was a little helpless. Very quickly, he gritted his teeth and said, "Attack! The person who set up the barrier is probably long dead. Although the absolute peak is strong, after thousands of years, it's like a duckweed without roots. The barrier may not be as strong as we think. If we work together, we might be able to open it. But once this place is sealed and counterattacked, it won't happen. When I crashed into it just now, there was no sealing and counterattacking force. This should not be related to the entire bounded zone. The layout of the bounded zone is also not set up by this absolute peak." Fong Ping explained and looked at everyone. They nodded. Li Hansong's armor appeared again. He opened his mouth and said, "We're already here. The cultivation method is right in front of us. We must go in." Fong Ping is right. If we attack forcefully, we might be able to break the barrier. Let's do it then. The few of them did not waste any time. They attacked the invisible barrier together. The barrier trembled slightly. This barrier did not have the power to counterattack. Now, the few of them were relieved. They began to attack the barrier continuously, although the absolute peak was strong. After all, so many years had passed. The absolute peak who set up this barrier back then might not have gone all out. After all, this was only a library on the ground. Again and again, the barrier gradually began to tremble. The few of them were overjoyed. It was effective. After another 7 to 8 minutes, in the void, there seemed to be a sound of glass shattering. At this time, Fong Ping's expression changed. He rushed in quickly. He did not even have time to check. He stored everything he saw into the storage space. In the bounded zone, there seemed to be a powerful force erupting and reviving. Fong Ping, Wang Jinyang, and the rest's expressions changed again and again. Was there really the existence of a force similar to the Tian'an bounded zone here? Fong Ping did not speak. He pressed his hands together and did not move. The few of them attacking the barrier earlier might have attracted the attention of this origin. Fong Ping tried to restrain their aura. The bounded zone did not reject them. That powerful force, he did not know if it had discovered them or if it did not care. Very soon, the invisible pressure dissipated. Fong Ping did not dare to breathe. He could not guarantee that this pressure would not kill them, although he really wanted to try and see if he could obtain the cultivation method legacy. It was better to gamble with one's life as little as possible. The few of them did not speak. They looked at each other and asked what they should do next. Just now, Fong Ping rushed in and took away a lot of things. However, not all of them were crystal books. Wang Jinyang and the rest took a look. There did not seem to be many crystal books. The rest were some animal skin books. There seemed to be a lot of animal skin books. There was no time to check if they were what they needed. After a while, Fong Ping signaled that they could speak. Wang Jinyang said softly, "Are we still going to the 3rd floor? I'm afraid the 3rd floor is more difficult." As it turned out, this was definitely a wise choice. The stones disappeared into thin air. Some of the black cracks flashed. The heavenly palace could not be entered directly. Fong Ping tried along the way and found that there was only one direction without space cracks. And this direction was the direction directly facing the gatehouse. Only this direction seemed to be the real entrance to the heavenly palace. Genius in a second. Remember this site's address. Mobile version. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.